back, everyone, to another episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast. I'm Brandon McClure. With me, as always, is Ben Magnet.
Hello there.
Sparks Witty.
Hi. I genuinely forgot that you were pulling Ben's leg about this being his intro and was confused.
Oh, before we recorded, I said it was Ben's intro. It is not. It is my intro. And Ryan Eliopoulos is not here today. He is on a much-needed vacation.
That's true.
So he'll be back next time. But we're here, and we've got some links in the description below.
That we do.
We'll talk about, I'll say the things about this channel. You know, guys like this video, subscribe to this channel. I'm saying that up top this time. We have 2 new Fake Nerds watches up. For me, I did a Discovery, Star Trek Discovery. As I've said before, I'm doing a Star Trek Discovery Fake Nerds watch series with Cookie from Just a Little Podcast and Michael Carls from Downright Annoyed. Nope, Downright Nerdy. And
I mean both. He's on both.
He is on both, yes. And we paired up episode 11 and episode 12 of Star Trek Discovery. And the last episode is coming up. And thank goodness.
And they've been up all week, these Fake Nerds Watch episodes, so you can go check them out. Make sure you've done so.
They have not.
Definitely have.
But I appreciate you trying. I really appreciate you putting them up. Anyway, I'm sure you had a very busy week. So that is up right now. A little bit about that one. That one was a little bit. Look, Discovery has completely lost steam. But the last episode 12, was pretty interesting. There's some good stuff in episode 12. A lot of it is dealing with the fact that they cannot communicate with the new species of alien. And it's all about them trying to figure out how to. And that was cool. That was a lot of fun to watch. It's from good Star Trek stuff. The highlight there is that we talked in that episode, I believe, is that we talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds trailer, which dropped this week. So,
can I ask a question about Discovery?
You may.
So at this point, do you have hope for like the show to surge back up to something you want to watch, or do you just kind of wish this next episode was the end?
Look, I always wanted to be good.
Well, sure. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, do you have, like, I know you'll watch it. You're going to come back for more Discovery. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, do you feel like better to cut the losses at this moment? Or do you feel like there is hope for a brighter future still?
I think there is still hope for a brighter future.
I'm asking, like, are you at that Walking Dead Negan point, you know?
Oh, no. I'm not there.
Are we clearly at the moment where, like, the best days are now behind us?
I'm worried that they are, but the new setting is still fascinating. They're in the 32nd century, which is furthest than any Star Trek series has ever taken us. And I'm so interested in exploring that section. It's just the plot of that series... The plot of the series is it just can't sustain 13 episodes.
Yeah. Real quick, I didn't mean to do this, but I realized that Walking Dead came to mind because of the news this week, which we did not put in our news.
Right.
Real quick, Walking Dead is getting another spin-off series about Negan and Maggie, and I can't believe it. and I'm like, I can't believe they made the announcement before the season's over. So I'm like, so clearly these characters are fine.
Yeah.
Not only are they fine, they're flourishing together.
Yeah, our favorite characters, Maggie and Negan.
Which is weird because one of them killed the other's husband. Which okay, you do you.
That's like announcing a spin-off series about Game of Thrones characters. Like before the last season, so before the war with the White Walkers and everything, and it's like, we're gonna see, whoever go off with, and like you're what?
Well, we know they live. Yeah, I feel like every time a new Walking Dead show comes out, I think the meme of the Simpsons meme where it's like, stop, he's already dead should be played because it's like, just stop.
I have to admit that I'm still super interested and apparently have good reason to be in the World Beyond spin-off series. I think there's still a lot of cool storytelling to be done with the world of The Walking Dead. I just think the flagship show has really dug itself into a hole.
We talked about it before with like the Rick-centered movies that haven't come out yet, where it's just like,
oh my God,
the time for these things has passed. The height of Walking Dead is when you did this, and we are so far beyond the height of Walking Dead.
I think Walking Dead would still be more popular if Walking Dead the show had ended like 4 years ago, but these spin-offs were happening.
Sure.
I think like people would be into it, like these little like morsels of different Walking Dead type stories. I think I'd still be in it.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
Sorry, Discovery.
But about Discovery, like I remember thinking specifically how the problem is specifically the plots that they're choosing, because I did a list and a little bit of sizzle for a list that I did on Screen Rant, which just went up today. I talked about a lot of the Captain Pike episodes that Discovery had, and through it, I was revisiting the plot line of season 2, which season 2 has some issues, but honestly, I think it's the best show ever did, because the plot sustained all 13 episodes. It was interesting. It was an engaging mystery that every character had stakes in, that was engaged with it. And we're not doing that anymore.
Everything I understand from you and from other sources is that the show was good before it went to the future.
Well, season 2 was good. I didn't care for season 1.
Is season 2 the future?
No, season 3 is the future.
That's what I thought. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everything, like, people have liked everything before it went to the future, and then it went to the... It's not because it went to the future it's bad, but, like...
Yeah.
It's unfortunately been the case that since that happened.
They did the future thing because they were tired of everyone complaining how Discovery doesn't fit with the original series. And so they were like, well, we'll just shove it into the future and nobody's going to complain about that anymore. Which they were right.
I mean, just have a real Trek nerd write it instead of having Kurtzman run the show.
Well, Kurtzman's not writing it anymore.
Anymore. Keyword. Anymore.
Yeah. The showrunner I've talked about, like the showrunners for the live action Star Treks, I'll get to that in a minute, don't seem to be like the big kind of Trek nerds that the animated shows are getting, and that's its own issue. But the new setting is interesting. There is potential for the 32nd century to grab me. These season long arcs are just not there. They're just not interesting. They're just not something that anybody is invested in.
Sure. Anyway,
the other Fake News Watch series that was put out was Picard. We finally put out the first episode of Star Trek Picard, season 2.
So I'm the person who edits these videos to go up. So I heard the beginning, and I heard both Brandon and Michael be relieved that each other both were very happy with this episode, which was very good. I was like, "Oh, this is nice."
We were ecstatic. But the funny thing was, we were talking about it, and we were like, because I wasn't sure, because Mike is pretty picky, and we both didn't like season 1 of Picard. So I was like, well, wait. I mean, if I like it,
I'm reading between the lines, but I don't think he liked the Batman.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You already know, don't you?
I know. We have recorded episode 2 of Picard, and it will be up this week. Yeah, he did not like the Batman. But look forward to that review coming up soon. But Picard, a lot of fun to talk about Picard. We really like it. It's exactly what I wanted season 1 to be. It's something special. I think it's shot up to my second favorite Star Trek show behind Lower Decks. The everything that was wrong with the first season was fixed in the first episode. Couldn't believe it. So that episode, a little bit of sizzle there. That episode is up now. The second episode has been recorded and will be up this week. So stay tuned for that. We're all caught up with Fake News Watch. The Batman review is up. That's not linked below currently in the live stream, but it will be up by the time we watch the rewind and the audio. Ben,
yeah,
you had a couple episodes on Grayson Live happen this week.
I did. We put out episodes 15 and 16 of us playing through
16 and 17.
16 and 17. Really? 16 and 17? I could have swore it was... Well, I might be wrong.
Get on your shit, Ben.
I keep them, Ben. I keep everything.
I mean, I just recorded some earlier with him today, so I was like, yo, what was the last episode we did?
16 and 17 we're up today.
Okay, so 16 and 17. And yeah. What was I? Yeah. Reflexes were not with us on that last episode. I know you saw it.
I've watched both, yes.
Yeah, our reflexes were not there. We sucked at the auditory cues on jumping and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And yeah.
Grayson's impatience is quite something to watch.
His friend Omikun says the exact same thing on the comments and the videos. It's great.
Grayson,
like I'm trying to tell, and also because I rewatched the episode, and when I went back to record today, I was like, okay, I didn't. So a little sizzle for when the new episodes are coming out, not this upcoming week, but next week. I do tell him it's like a 1, 2, 3, then you jump on those blinking levels. of course, we don't remember that.
Well, it's really funny. It's really funny, Sparks. I don't know if you watched the Grayson live videos. So it's really funny because like Ben will be sitting there, will be playing and be like, don't go that way. Don't go that way yet. Don't go that way yet. And Grayson's already gone. Grayson's on the other side of the map. Grayson's already fallen off the map. Grayson has already made it so that Ben can't get a star. Like it's really funny to watch.
Wow.
I'm like, hey, we gotta time this right. And he goes, wee!
He's just already gone.
It's like he's Leroy Jenkinsing it without really Leroy Jenkinsing it.
And it's really it's fun stuff. I'm glad you're doing it.
I'm glad. Good news is we recorded some more today, so more in the future. Woohoo!
Ben, you've been
Yes.
speaking a lot about it this past couple of weeks, but your first article for Go Nintendo has been put up
Yes,
this week.
Go Nintendo went up live last Monday. My review for Gem Wizards Tactics is up. I am officially writing for them. I am super excited, and this was like my first full-on video game review where I actually got a review code for it. And it's really weird. And it was kind of hitting me because when I was telling Fanny about when I was playing this game, and she's like, oh, so what is this, a demo? I'm like, no, this is like the full game. And she's like, well, how much did you pay for it? I was like, I didn't. I got the review code. I'm a video game reviewer now. It's like that weird like sense of like, oh shit, this is real. So now I'm probably gonna get like a whole bunch of other Switch games that I need to review. That's gonna be like, and once I'm done reviewing them, instantly delete off my Switch, because especially the game I reviewed for my first one. And my cat just knocked something over.
Was that what that was?
That was probably my cat knocking.
That's funny.
It's like, boy, Suki. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that game's not staying on my Switch anymore.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Just
i.e., if you want to go read that review, Ben didn't like it. So,
but if you want to know,
spoiler alert, he didn't like it.
But if you want to know why I didn't like it, go ahead and check the review out. They're actually my editor said I had some really valid points on that game. So yay.
There you go.
You hear that, people? Don't spend your money on this game.
Well, at
You
least
heard
I
it here first,
maybe the
folks.
Steam version.
All right.
Get a review code.
I also there's a couple other links in the description for me. I did an article this week for Atomic Geekdom. That was not my Infinity Saga series. It was I didn't name it this. The editor decided it. Why Pixar? This is a piece that I've been trying to write for a little bit, and I timed it with the release of Turning Red, which we're talking about today. And this is about the decision and the precedent, essentially, that Disney has set with putting now 3 Pixar films exclusively on Disney Plus at no extra charge.
Like 3.5, honestly.
What's the half?
Onward is the half, because
I forgot about
window
Onward.
with the pandemic.
Yeah. And so, like, I talked about the same things that we've talked about here, like how Soul kind of made sense, Luca didn't, and now Turning Red made even less sense. And the further we get, the less sense they make.
I don't know if you guys we'll get into it when we talk. We won't get into this specific fact. We're going to talk about Turning Red later. But I don't know if you guys saw in the credits, but it said optimized for IMAX screens.
Yep.
I did not see that.
Boy,
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen it on
It
those
was
IMAX screens.
for IMAX the same way that Lightyear is, and I'm like, boy, that's upsetting.
Yeah. Very upset about that. And so my upsetness I put into an article, and you can read it now. That is linked below. I'm pretty happy with how that one turned out.
As you should. It was a really good read.
I
Good for you,
appreciate it.
mate.
And my latest issue, my latest series, my latest piece on the Infinity Saga, revisiting the Infinity Saga, has been put up this week.
Crazy
prescient.
timing.
Yeah, a little prescient.
Yeah.
This was about not the post-credit scene, the very end of The Incredible Hulk, where Tony Stark shows up and talks to William Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll also talk about in a bit. That's a kind of, so like I talked about kind of what that meant for the, look, about this. I'm almost done. After a little bit of sizzle, after I get to 40, I'm going to write an interlude. I'm going to take a couple weeks break to write a quick little different thing. So the Infinity Saga series has gotten far longer than I initially thought. But yeah, so that's up there now. You can check out all those links below, as well as my Screen Rant work. My author page is linked below, and you can check out some of the pieces that I wrote for Screen Rant. I've got 2 Strange New Worlds pieces now, one about the trailer, and then one about some of the episodes that you should watch if you're excited for the show. I have a Master Chief piece where I write about all the actors who have played Master Chief. I didn't realize there were so many. There are many actors who have played Master Chief. Steve Downes has only done the video game. And then I did a Guillermo del Toro piece that was put up this week. You know the drill. There's some other ones there. So you can check them all out if you like. And that's it. Who wants to go first that week?
Wait. Do I have any links in the description?
Do you?
No, I'm just kidding. Let's go.
Okay. Jesus.
Even I was like, wait a minute, do you?
No.
Well, it makes sense that you would say that. We once told him, I'm going to say the story. We once said, Ben, did you know Gullible was written on the ceiling? And he looked.
We were in a movie theater. I don't know if that makes it more believable it would be there or less.
Anyway,
all right, Ben, how was your week?
Sorry, just recovering from that traumatic experience.
I'm sorry. We weren't trying to tarnish your time here.
Oh, you sneaky mother effer.
Bye. That's my time.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one. So let's be real. The only thing I did this week was just play Elden Ring. This was the first time in a long time where almost every single night where I came home from work, I played Elden Ring. I streamed it on Tuesday morning and Saturday morning, which is actually going to be my new Twitch schedule for a little bit. Let's see how that goes.
You crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the only time I could stream. So,
dude, I get it. I'm just saying you're crazy.
I know I'm crazy. Thankfully, I have friends in other time zones who will hopefully watch me.
Yeah.
Besides that, I can't really say a whole lot about Elden Ring without this podcast going like 2 hours longer. The game is fantastic. It deserves all the praise it's getting. I'm gonna write a piece for Fusion about it, and we did some really fun stuff. Like I was playing with Sparks and Ryan Thursday afternoon right before I had to go to work, and I was even thinking about it before I went to bed. I was like, I shouldn't, but I really want to just go and just play Elden Ring with my friends all day because both of them had the days off.
Ryan and I did not encourage that, not even a little.
Yeah, totally. You totally weren't on our. We weren't on voice chat, and of course, I did just wake up like 20 minutes prior. So when Sparks goes, "Hey Ben, you sound kind of sick," my dumbass brain goes into, "Oh yeah, I just woke up. That's why I sound a little raspier than usual." And then
I want to give him the credit. That was Ryan.
Oh, that was Ryan. Okay. Yeah. So Ryan says, "Hey Ben, I think you sound sick," and I'm like, "Oh no, I just woke up. That's just how my voice sounds before."
And then I was like, "No, Ben, I'm pretty sure you're sick."
And of course, the second Sparks said it, it clicked. I'm like, oh, and I wanted to so bad. I played some more. I played way too late with Ryan last night, and I still had to watch the Adam Project afterwards. Is exactly what I did. And my dumbass forgot about the times jump because as we're recording this, it's daylight savings time where we move our clocks forward. If you're watching this and you're in a different country, America's stupid. We have this thing called daylight savings time where we push our clocks back and forward twice.
Other countries have it. Other countries have it.
They do? Okay. Well, if you're a country that doesn't have it, that's what it is. And this was the time of year where we move our clocks forward an hour. So at 2 a.m. this morning, our clocks instantly went from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. And my dumbass was playing with Ryan. I'm thinking, oh, it's only 2 a.m. I can still have time to watch the Adam Project and get a decent amount of sleep. No, because it instantly turned to 3 a.m. and we stopped playing at 3:45.
I stopped playing Elden Ring because I was playing by myself and went to bed pretty much at the time change. So when it flipped over to 3 o'clock, I was like, all right, I'm done. And I come up and I can hear them playing from Ryan's room. And I'm like, they don't know. They don't know. They just lost an hour.
Nope. No, we did not know. So yes, Elden Ring is amazing. I'm definitely going to play some more once we're done recording today. Sparks, you're welcome to join. So Brandon, any news on getting your copy yet?
You guys want to go play Knockout City with me? Elden Ring?
We'll see. No. We'll see. I haven't been bought by either team yet. I'm open to the bids. Is that all of it, Ben?
Like the only other piece of media that I enjoyed outside of Elden Ring and outside the things we're talking about for the show today was I went and got McDonald's and came home and watched one episode of South Park with Fanny. That was it.
Nice. I respect it. I'll take over from that and just talk a little bit about Elden Ring as well. I am almost 16 hours deep, and I have yet to fight the first major boss.
Oh, I beat the first major boss.
I'm just going all over the map and finding new things and just being like, "Ooh, this is fun." And
Wait, are we talking about Margit or Godric?
Oh yeah.
Margit.
Margit. Yeah.
Ooh. I
Still
beat
haven't.
Godric.
Nope, I still haven't touched either of them. I don't think I've touched anybody very big.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, Ryan! Yay!
Ryan, hello, sir.
And
Ryan,
Sprinkle jumps into the chat and yells, "I'm drunk."
beautiful, love it.
Pretty much every time that I see a big boss, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go somewhere else and go explore that map. I've been doing that. That's pretty much all I do in Elden Ring right now is go find new places.
I gotta tell you one thing. So, do you remember when when you, me, and Ryan found that gate in my game, where that's that scene gate next to the church, where it transports you to a different part of the map? Not the mythic chest, like the gate.
Yeah.
So, I went there.
Yeah,
I was
you
playing
did.
solo.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, it's probably gonna pop me into a different part of the map that I already discovered. That's no. I go into this random place, and I see this giant ass castle, and I'm like, oh, I'm in danger. I turn my character around, and I see the back of a big ass iron golem with wings and a freaking behemoth of a halberd axe, and I'm thinking, I'm in danger, and I instantly bamf the F out of there because I'm like, there's no way in hell I can fight this thing.
I did this too because I sent you there on purpose for that experience. Because I'd already been there and I'd done that, which is like, Brandon, it's very good because you get teleported to a totally different place on the map. Mm-hmm. And when you get there, all that's in front of you is a castle. And you're like, oh, okay. And you turn the camera, you turn around, you see down the steps from the castle. And at the bottom of those steps is this gigantic figure. We're talking like Gurren Lagann. Like gigantic figure with giant wings. And you're like, and he's facing away from you and you're like, oh boy. Oh no. And you're just like, everything's fine till you turn that camera and you're like, oh no.
Thankfully, I was able to bamf out of there and go back to it. And the thing about that is that also showed me how truly large the map was. I knew the map was big. I didn't think it was that big. Because, I mean, I didn't even unlock the northern, because I beat Godric. I go to the northern part of the map where Stormvale Castle is. That's a whole different freaking continent. And I'm just like, oh shit, this is a lot larger than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Brandon, Ryan says, I
saw.
Maybe one day. Continuing on with my week, I have much more to say about Elden Ring at a later date in another place, another time.
Okay, look, real quickly. Look. It's in my cart.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say I'm doing it.
Don't tempt me, baby.
Don't.
I'm not accepting money from you.
Not for this anyway.
Not for this.
I mean, I can help.
No. I'm not saying I'm gonna play it. I'm just
let
saying,
him get drunk and do it on its own.
I'm thinking. Look, at this point I am considering it. I'm not saying I'm doing it.
This is a tasty, spicy meatball.
Yeah, if there's one thing I do have to say about Elden Ring, Brandon, is that yes, it is hard, but the ability to play with friends makes it so much better and easier to get in and to grow your skills. Because there is like the community of like Get Good Scrub, but there's also the element like us going into your game. We're scaled down, so it's not like we can just go and kill a big boss and you just hang back. You get to learn and you get to fight alongside us. So I say Elden Ring is definitely a great game to go
Grayson live in the chat.
Oh, hey Grayson. Hey buddy, how's it going? Keep hearing the same thing, but I'm considering it as well. Yeah, get it.
It's very narratively free, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
our friend Marty just got it too. I watched an episode of Batwoman and an episode of Legends of Tomorrow. Both of their seasons ended last week, so I'm just trying to catch up. I've got 3 left on both. Because I want to get to that Legends of Tomorrow reveal.
I saw the clip.
Yeah, I haven't watched the clip, but I know it was all my dreams come true. So I did just a few other things, but I did them I did 2 of them in very large amounts. So first, I watched SpongeBob Sponge on the Run because I had a night where I was just feeling like a movie, and I'm like, I meant to watch that because I liked the second one a lot. I was really impressed with it, so I wanted to give the third one a shot, and I'm really sad to report that the writing is nowhere near as sharp as the second SpongeBob film. It's not terrible. It's not a waste of time, but it's much more akin to pretty much what SpongeBob has become now, rather than like what the second film was, which is like a blast of comedic brilliance that suddenly flared up out of SpongeBob, and I was like, whoa, this is really good. The third one is not that. The animation's really good, even as I'm like, don't really prefer that style of animation. But the damning thing for the movie is that it feels like it all is just a big commercial for that spin-off show Camp Coral. Because they do this, they really create a ham-fisted story to shove in Camp Coral flashbacks pretty much at the end of the movie. Like there's one before that, and then like most of them are at the end of the film in the third act, and like all the different characters have them, and it's just kind of like, you're gonna want to watch this show, and I'm like, I really don't, because you're not making me want to. There's good comedy. Keanu Reeves is excellent for his appearance, and they kind of do this really frustratingly stupid thing where like SpongeBob doesn't have to obey a lot of rules. But the way that they go about facilitating just clearly wanting to do something with a bunch of different celebrities in live action with SpongeBob all in the same place, and having to take him out of water and then just make an excuse for why that happened and then move on, is pretty poor. Sure. Even as I like the appearances. Really a bummer. Especially in comparison to, like, again, I think the second film is like peak SpongeBob on film anyway. And this just I was gonna say this just didn't come even close to the first or the second, I think.
I was gonna say, like, the peak time when a celebrity, when it was like a live action celebrity with SpongeBob, was David Hasselhoff. Yeah. Where he just comes up and it's like, I'm David Hasselhoff, and then later it's like, we rode the Hasselhoff.
Yeah, it really was sad, because like I was truly surprised when I went to the theaters and saw the second one, and I was like, oh my god, this is like as good as classic SpongeBob, like when SpongeBob was that new.
Was the Antonio Banderas one.
Yeah.
Right.
That one's really sharp, really smart, has a good emotional core, handles its characters well. This was just not that. This felt just like a drawn out modern SpongeBob episode, which is kind of like,
it's too bad.
Yeah, it really bummed me out, to be honest, which is sucks, because I did not watch it to get bummed out. The animation's pretty, but I don't have a lot of praise for it, which I'm sad. I'm sad about that.
That's a bummer.
I'll do this one first. Mobile Suit Gundam. I think I've watched about 20 episodes since the last time we talked. I have watched many. A lot of people started dying. Pretty much like right after the last episode I'd watched the last time we talked a week ago, they started just killing on both sides characters that I really liked. And I was like, oh no, war.
I think I know who. Let's see, because you're on Earth now, right?
Oh yeah, I've been on Earth for a while.
Miss Matilda.
Oh yeah, that's
she's dead.
Rumbo Rawl.
Yep, he dead. Here's a good one too. He was a Xeon, but
I know. This is one of the things, is that there's people on the bad guy side I love. They're great characters.
Did you get to Belfast yet or no?
Belfast. Is that a place or a person?
That's a place. Like Belfast has a Federation.
It's
base.
not a place. It's a people.
It's the Federation. I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm at the point where they were having to leave South America, or go to South America for like a major assault, but White Base went into space to distract Char. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
We've met Matilda's fiance. There's a new dude on the ship who fires cannons. I only want to highlight a couple of things, which is that I still love that there's a lot of questioning of like who's really right on what side of the war. The Federation does a lot of shady crap, and so do the Zeons. And you have Zeon soldiers who like not only kind of show regret for even having to be involved in the war, but admire some of the Federation soldiers that we're watching, especially the young ones, and what they're going through. There's one where they put a bunch of bombs on Gundam trying to blow it up, and they just watch as the pilot, Amuro, who's so young, goes and disarms all of the bombs by himself. and they're just so impressed that they drive up as civilians to tell him to like keep up the good fight. And I just love that kind of stuff. I'm like, this is so good. I do think the show's helped a lot by a very modern sound design for this dubbing. I think that really helps because it sounds like a modern show, even if it doesn't look like a modern show by any means. I really, really thought I was about to go over the deep end on Amuro because he does one of the dumbest things, and it's still one of the dumbest things he ever could do, but this is like the turning point for his character, which is that he kind of hits a wall and he decides he's going to desert, which to me makes sense. I'm like, that's logical with the situation he's been in, the character he is, and the characters that are around him. He wants to desert, but he takes the Gundam. And so he just leaves them defenseless. And I'm like, this is so stupid, Amuro. I'm so mad. And then he acts like everybody's being butthurt for coming after him, being like, dude, give us back the Gundam. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, you just want the Gundam. That's all you care about. They're like, yeah, it's our most valuable weapon.
It's the most powerful mobile suit in the Federation fleet. Of course, they freaking want it back.
God, so he can be such a child, but like the whole, and it is cool, like the way it comes about. The whole like battle with Rambo Rawl, the ultimate conflict there is a big turning point for Amuro. Of course, Ryu, and I'm not going to say much more than that, but Ryu. But the one that got me, the one that like made me like freeze as I was watching it because I just wasn't prepared for it, is there's a girl named Miharu. And Miharu has 2 siblings. They are all orphaned, and she's been trying to take care of them. And the way she takes care of them is by taking money from Zeon forces to be a spy. Just all she's doing is spying out of a harbor and letting them know when Federation forces come nearby.
That's Belfast.
Okay, yeah. So Belfast, and she gets told by Char to go sneak onto White Base so she can be a more proper spy for them, and she does so. And while she's on it, she finds out that there are like children and refugees on the ship. And she immediately is upset that she's involved in like helping take these people down. So she decides to help in fight back against the Zeons. She's a civilian. And so she ends up on a ship trying to help them fight the Zeon forces. And the launchers aren't working on their missiles, so she has to go down and manually operate it. And the guy piloting the ship, Kai, is like, there's a process. If you don't know the process, you could get hurt. And she's like, it'll be fine. And so she launches the missiles manually, but because she's a civilian, she doesn't know that the exhaust from the missiles is going to be a really strong force and blow her out of the plane and knock her unconscious. And she falls into the Atlantic Ocean and drowns. And I was like, holy shit. And it was a really well animated part of this very old cartoon. And that got me. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a really good dramatic point in the series.
Yeah, just wait till you meet Lala. That's gonna hurt.
I'm here for it. It's all about like, I really like it. It's really messy on both sides, and I love it.
But so the South America mission, that's the attack on Jaburo. That's the Federation base in South America. That's a big fight.
Yeah,
if you thought Odessa was bad, that's worse.
I didn't think Odessa was as bad as some things that have happened since Odessa. Anyway, the other thing I did is I finished my rewatch of season 1 of Lock and Key with Megan.
Yes. And
then from yesterday to today, we watched all of season 2. That should tell you a lot. Season 2 is really good, guys. I won't spoil anything. I think that the setup for season 3 is incredibly exciting. I'm really glad we're going to get it. I hope that people do watch the show. I'm glad that we're getting season 3 either way. I kind of hope that that's it because I don't want this show to end up unfinished. Sure. But I really, really like it. I think season 2, they did a great job, especially when you consider all the COVID conditions they had to work around, which I think is a little obvious with some cast members. Either just like the lack of use of them, just because they probably wanted to cut down on the number of people at times. But I think like the seasons go hand in hand so well. The characters are all the more enhanced. The story is great. I just really loved it. I loved it from top to bottom. I had a great time.
Real quickly, you talked about COVID restrictions, and Star Trek Discovery has Tig Notaro as the chief engineer of the Discovery, and she's brilliant. She's one of the best characters in the show, and she's been absent most of the season, except for the episode that aired last week, and then this past episode. And it's like my biggest tweet. Like that thing blew up. That thing did numbers. I got like 154 likes, which is huge for me. But like no new followers, so whatever. And apparently it's because of COVID. She didn't want to make the trip because of COVID. And
Right.
I totally respect that, but man, you're missed.
Right. Yeah, you can definitely pick up on some of that going on in Lock and Key. They introduced some new characters who I think are really good. I think the actors are all doing a great job. It's so hard to talk about without like giving anything away. I think that the fallout from season 1 is paid off so well over the entire course of season 2 in different respects and all throughout. I think they made excellent choices with so many things. Yeah, I highly recommend, like, if you like season 1, go back, do season 2. It's really worth it. I definitely recommend a refresher on season 1 to have certain things back in your brain. But really, really great. Really loved it.
That's awesome. I really got to go through that.
I was really, really happy. Really, really happy with Lock and Key season 2.
All right, well, my turn, I guess. I didn't do a whole lot. I did. I watched Cooler's Revenge, Dragon Ball Z Cooler's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot better when I was a kid. I still liked it. It's still a lot of fun. Cooler is a very cool villain, though. No pun intended. And I think that helps the movie a lot because he is the coolest villain up until this point in the Dragon Ball, at least the Dragon Ball Z movies, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Sure.
Yeah, and I think that helped a lot. But there is a sense that it does kind of redo the Frieza saga, just in kind of a lesser scale. Like we still get the Goku turning Super Saiyan moment, and they do try to be like, oh, this was just like when he turned Super Saiyan and Frieza. It's like, yeah, okay, I guess. It does have a really beautiful moment though that I really like. He never does it again, but like Goku is like really upset at the animals being hurt, and you never see this in the show. And then he like revives with the Super Saiyan power a bird. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really beautiful.
One of my favorite Super Saiyan transformations because of the way that Goku channels his rage in that scene.
Yeah.
I think that what puts Cooler a little bit up is that it's definitely the best, I think, of all the films up to that point.
Yes,
and I think that's not just because of the villain. It's also like his gang is better. They're more interesting. They feel like actual characters. Salsa?
I think so.
Is that his name? The one who like makes the light blade with only one shoulder?
The French guy, right? I think so.
Yeah. Who fights Piccolo, and Piccolo does like the arm stuff through the trees. All that sequence is like, that's good shit. You know it's good shit because I haven't seen that movie in like over a decade, and I remember it. So like, that's good shit.
Yeah.
I think Cooler's Revenge is a good notch up for the Dragon Ball Z films, and I think it's only really you got a pretty good run from 6 to 8, 5 to 8.
Yeah,
and then that's kind of it.
Can't wait.
It doesn't really hit those highs again.
I think that's kind of where I dropped off because I haven't seen a lot. The reason why I'm doing this just to refresh the audience's memory. Like I have not seen the later Dragon Ball Z films.
Yeah.
So like Super Androids, whatever the hell, and Bio Broly. I haven't seen any of those.
Super Android 13?
Maybe. That's, BoJack. I haven't seen BoJack.
Yeah. Super Android 13 is number 7.
Oh yeah. Did you say 70?
7.
7. Okay.
I'll be a little freaked out there. 70 androids.
70 movies, Ben.
Oh, 70 movies. Damn.
Not yet. We'll get there someday.
Probably.
Yeah. I do really enjoy it. Like Spark said, the action sequences are very cool. The Piccolo. Once Piccolo shows up, it's really cool because Goku is out of the action for a lot of it because they're trying to get the senzu beans to him because he's been pretty beaten. And when Piccolo shows up, that a lot of cool action with him. He takes out 2 of them. It's really cool. And the fourth transformation. Hey, look, no shade to Gold and Frieza, but like that's just Frieza but gold. It was really cool when the fourth transformation was like a monster.
Yes. A monster with a mask that comes from his body to protect his mouth.
Love it. That was really cool.
It's good. It's good.
I kind of wish we saw Frieza in that form.
It's a really menacing look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope Toriyama makes cooler canon.
I feel like if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
Probably.
I'm not going to say that ship has completely sailed, but it's definitely like getting its last docking strategies on the way to head out for the horizon.
Yeah.
I
finished the After Party.
Nice.
Yeah.
I watched the last 4 episodes of the After Party. Excellent show. Sparks has said a lot about it over the past couple weeks. The reveal, perfect. The way the whole story unfolded, who it ended up being, great. I'm really happy that actor got to play that role, especially knowing what happened to them, and how awesome. Great characters, great dynamics. I'm very excited for season 2. Bring on my Tiffany Haddish murder mystery franchise.
You see now who I'm talking about, who could come back. Yeah,
absolutely.
That last comedy note. Hey, can you take me home?
Walt. Brilliant.
I thought that was so good. I was like, man, that was a great button on the show.
And you're totally right. Like, there's an episode that is, it's all focused on different characters except for one. One is focused on, I don't think this is too much to spoil, one is focused on her, and her story, and totally like, absolutely see how they knew it. They knew, like, if this works, this is around her. She's going to other places and solving other murders.
Right. Yeah. The moment that episode hits, you're like, okay, so we're gonna move the show on with she's our Poirot.
Yeah.
As it were. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, really cool show. Highly recommend for anybody who hasn't watched it. I finally watched something on Apple TV Plus. So, hey,
what a hit.
Right. You know what? Apple TV Plus apparently has some really good stuff, and none of us are watching it.
I believe that because, like, I've heard good things about a few others on there. I really wanted to watch Severance, man.
I really want to watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I keep hearing about that one.
Yeah. I only read one comic book. I'm so far behind on my comics, and I'm really struggling to get in the mood to read them. But I do try. And the first issue of Gwenverse dropped. The full title is Spider-Gwen Gwenverse. The first issue dropped, and I was curious because, like, I really like Spider-Gwen. As I've said before, she's my favorite of the spiders. I really like her world, Earth 65. The last time I saw her was during the Absolute Carnage tie-in, with they did, like, the Gwenom versus MJ Arnage.
Jesus Christ.
Which was really fun. It was really cool to have, like, her Earth 65 Gwen Stacy versus Earth 65 Mary Jane Watson, because they're friends and they've been having some issues, and kind of have that heightened by symbiote shenanigans. But that was the last time I saw anything about this universe. And it wasn't even on this universe. It was on 616. And now we go back to Gwenverse, and it looks like what I was worried about, which was that the plot line of the Storms, Sue and Johnny, having banished her from her timeline, is just dropped. They're not going to address that anymore, and I'm bummed about that because I liked that. I don't want to see that go somewhere. But the setup of how all the different Gwens from different, it's not different universes. What happens is she's traveling through 616 from 65, and then something happens in the far future, in her far future, that splinters her into different points of her timeline. So she becomes different characters in her timeline, and she has to go back through time and try and figure out what's going on and merge back together with her. I actually really liked it. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
It's kind of a dumb premise, but it was fun, and that's really all you can count on. It's a fun comic.
Right.
And then we watched the Battlestar Galactica. Baltar tried to tell a silent Centurion about God, and that almost blew up in his face. Don't do that. Silent Centurions they're a little trigger happy. You don't want to tell them that they're actually slaves, because they'll kill you.
I believe you.
Yeah, you should.
Good.
But the final thing I want to talk about is I went to a bar this week. I'm going to do a little show and tell like Ben normally does. I'm wearing a t-shirt for 10 Forward. Star Trek Picard. When the first episode opened, we are introduced to Whoopi Goldberg, who plays Guinan. She returns as that character from Next Generation. she has opened a bar in Los Angeles called 10 Forward, which is named after the bar that she owned on the Enterprise. And they opened that bar in downtown LA. Well, actually, City of Industry, but if you're not part of LA, that doesn't make
It's
any
where?
difference. City of Industry.
Oh, that's so close to me. Why did you tell me you were close to town? I could have come see you and say hi.
I don't know how geography works. It's an hour away from me in the other direction. How am I supposed to know that it's so close to you? Anyway, if you are in LA, I highly recommend this, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. It's not that expensive, and I think it's still here towards the end of the month. I'm not 100% sure. Check the tickets. What they did was they kind of modeled it after the bar. So inside, it looks exactly like the bar from Star Trek Picard, and they've got Guinan props, and they got pictures up of different episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation that have Picard and Guinan. The bar looks exactly like it does, like the actual place, like where you order the drinks. And they have merch. Obviously, I bought a T-shirt. It was so cool. It was just so cool. I felt like I walked into the year 2401, which is when the season takes place. There were cosplayers, people who dressed up as like Starfleet officers that went there. That was really cool. I only wore this badge. I'm wearing my Star Trek badge for the audio listeners. And they had like a Zara and I could not take our eyes off of this one Romulan girl. Whew. And it was just really cool. The service was really fast. You were allowed 2 drinks per person with the price of the ticket and unlimited food. And so they had a Chateau Picard, which is Picard's Vineyard. That is real. They've made that. They've merchandised that. They've made that. You could purchase that. I had that. It's fine. But then you can have like Earl Grey gin, Romulan ale, which is a vodka cocktail, which I actually really like. I'm not big on vodka, but I really liked that.
Ooh, sounds good.
Zara had all 3 drinks by the end of the night. It was very drunk when we got home. But it was so much fun, and I'm so happy I did it. And I'm so glad they did it. I'm so glad they put that thing on. There were some pictures, so some photo ops, some pictures. I'll put them up on my Instagram this week. If you're a Star Trek fan and you're in Los Angeles, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun. Just a bunch of like-minded people going to a bar set in their favorite franchise. Like you feel like you're in Star Trek. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Great. I'm happy for you.
And that's my week. Let's go into our news then. All right. I bought some other merchandise. I bought a Stargazer poster. Put it up somewhere. Okay. We got some sad news up top, though.
Yeah, we do.
So first up, Laurel Goodwin, who played Yeoman J.M. Colt in the original Star Trek pilot, The Cage. For those of you who don't know, The Cage is where Captain Pike comes from. He's got a show coming up, if you hadn't heard. The reason why I put this on, she passed away at the age of 79. She was the last surviving credited performer of that episode. She's obviously not the last surviving performer of the episode because George Takei was in that episode briefly. He was not credited, however. But that's kind of a sobering reality that a lot of that cast from that original pilot is gone now.
Sure.
And that sucks. She retired from acting about 35 years ago and was like a nurse. Which is cool. Emilio Delgado, who played Luis Rodriguez on Sesame Street, passed away at the age of 81 this week. And finally, William Hurt, who played, obviously Marvel fans will know him best as General Thaddeus Ross,
right,
from the Incredible Hulk, Civil War. He passed away just today at 71 years old.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That's a big bummer.
I really liked him.
Yeah, me too. There's a lot of people that wanted to see him become that Red Hulk. I suspect that will be forever off the table at this point. Yeah, that's obviously he has a bigger career than just Ross, but that's obviously been a staple. Really talented. I've liked him in pretty much everything I've ever seen him do. I think it's a big bummer that there's that. For those who have watched it, there's that original deleted scene that was supposed to be like part of the ending of Black Widow, where he's talking to Natasha when she's in the back of the car, and he's like making a comment about why she does what she does, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed that is not the button he got to go out on with Ross, officially, because like it's a way better character moment than what they gave him in the end.
We don't know if he's in She-Hulk, right?
No, I don't think we do. Which he could be, and that'd be cool, but we have no idea.
If he was, he would have already filmed it by now.
Right.
He did seem like he was getting, there was something wrong. Like Black Widow for some reason has him with a cane, and I know they like wrote it off, but it always seemed weird to me that he looked so sickly in Black Widow and not healthy.
Right.
And I wonder if that had something to do with it. Like, was he getting sicker as he was starting to get older?
Could be, and we don't have anything for cause of death beyond natural causes. So
yeah, I was a big fan. I really like the book Moby Dick. I've seen 2 of the adaptations that have been done. I haven't seen the Patrick Stewart one yet, but he did one. He did a miniseries with Ethan Hawke and Pippin from
Lord of the Rings.
I forgot the actor's name.
First.
But he plays Captain Ahab in that, and I thought he was incredible. He's my favorite Captain Ahab because of that. That miniseries is awesome, and he's very good in it. And like, obviously, he's done a ton of work, and I was a big fan of his.
Yeah. That's a big bummer, and part of like, I know you wrote about it, so like, but part of the scene that I know because you and I were in the theaters. Where, like, yeah, seeing Sam Jackson was cool, but seeing the Incredible Hulk a couple months later and Robert Downey Jr. walk in to have a discussion with William Hurt, that cemented, oh shit.
Yeah, oh shit, something's coming.
These things are in the same world, oh shit.
That was, I wrote about it, which is crazy that I wrote about that moment, and this happened a couple days later. It's such an influential and important moment that he's a part of, and he'll always be a part of. And thank goodness they were able to bring him back for Civil War so that his performance in The Incredible Hulk will never be forgotten.
Right.
Because I think he's great as General Ross.
Oh yeah, I think he was a great casting choice for that role.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I wish that they could have gotten to do more with him somewhere. Yeah. I'm glad we got what we got, but
yeah.
The end where he's trying to save his daughter before Hulk like smacks the fire away.
Uh-huh.
Oh, such good. He was a really good actor. I miss him already. All right, let's move on then to some Disney controversy.
Oh boy!
For those of you who don't know, I wrote a lot about this just for this. Now, those of you who don't know, there's currently a bill in Florida that's been labeled the Don't Say Gay bill. The legislation essentially would ban teachers from discussing LGBTQ topics like sexual orientation or gender identity with students until after 3rd grade. Doesn't sound great, does it?
Nope.
I'm going to read some of this stuff. This is a quote that I saw. The Walt Disney Company contributed just under. This is kind of why we're talking about this. So it was found out that the Walt Disney Company contributed just under $200,000 to the Florida Republicans behind HB 1557, which is the bill. Don't say gay. Obviously, it's not called Don't Say Gay. This is a relevant quote from the Hollywood Reporter that I saw. Chapek, who is the current head of Disney, current CEO of Disney, took over from Iger. Chapek is private about his politics, but is believed to be much more conservative than Iger, who was a registered Democrat before becoming an independent in 2016. I didn't know that. I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I always assumed Iger was more conservative than he let on. Chapek is staunchly opposed to bringing Disney into issues he deems irrelevant to the company and its business.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of what a source for the Hollywood Reporter has said. Basically, what that means is Iger was more willing to take a stand on things like this. In fact, he has taken a stand on things like this before.
Right.
The George Floyd murder, he like he was out there. Even on this bill, he has tweeted at the president he's no longer involved in decisions made at Disney. He left in December, and he has been talking about. He's been opposed to this bill as well. So Chapek has taken a narrow review and has been concerned that Disney might be viewed as too liberal. Oops. And so this is kind of where we're coming. This is kind of to catch everyone up. There's been a lot of back and forth. So at first, Chapek said he wouldn't do anything but try to inspire. Go ahead.
Real quick before you get into that. So this isn't new. We know that Disney has put money into the pockets of politicians on both sides of the aisle before we found out about this, and like a decent amount of times it's people who we don't like, but like this is not a new development.
Yeah.
This was disappointing, but it wasn't new or not unheard of.
Yeah.
So people were like, yeah, I'm disappointed that Disney contributes money to those politicians. That would have been the end of it. We would have been like, yeah, we're disappointed, and we would have probably moved on to focus on like Disney's not the thing we're going to focus on as a problem here. We're going to focus on the problem of the bill itself, as it usually goes. But Chapek had felt compelled to send out an email company-wide to all Disney employees, of which I will admit I am one, and I got this. And
did you?
It was
I was curious.
Oh yeah, I did. And I was disappointed. You may continue.
Well, actually, why don't you say what the email said, because you got it.
So like the part that everyone has focused on is essentially that Chapek said that, kind of a lot of what I was just echoing, which is, yeah, we give money to politicians. We give money to politicians on both sides. Like, we're not a politically aligned company. It's not our place to get involved in things like this. What we find more important is like, while we respect and care about our LGBT community, the best thing we can do for them is create stories that will inspire them and help push for a world that involves them. And it was specifically the dialogue about that, about him saying, push to like the only thing we're really going to do as a company essentially is just try to make stories that will inspire a better world for those communities, people of those communities.
And yet they keep canceling the shows that are also really, really good and have those storylines in them.
Well, that's the point. That's the reason why Chapek kind of stepped into it, because all the people who work in the company who are part of that community said, but that's not what you're doing.
Right. The girl who runs the Owl House, she came out and said something and did like a charity stream. She
was really upset when she got the email. A lot of people were. Yes, and it's important to put into perspective as we're about to go forward on this. This is it's all unfortunate how this is, that this money going into the politicians' pockets for people who are pushing forward this Don't Say Gay bill in Florida is already like, oh, that's disappointing that Disney as a company does it. But the problem with Chapek and the company's response to it when the LGBT community is asking for something to change specifically with that is that Disney has such monumental business within Florida. This is a huge, huge chunk of their employee base that is saying this is directly affecting us. Mm-hmm. These are our kids that are being affected by this bill. And Disney kind of going, oh well, was upsetting. So
I wrote a quick little thing where it's like, we want to inspire, because he said I want to inspire the masses with our inspiring content or whatever, and like I was like, oh yeah, so like the 5-second gay kiss that you can easily cut out in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, totally inspiring. The other thing is that there's a lot of things, like Ben was saying, where like Love Victor was pushed to Hulu because like how it could not be associated with our Disney Plus brand. It can't be associated with Disney.
Lizzie McGuire show.
Anybody? Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, the Owl House, which has a pro-gay couple. It's not subtext; it's text. Like Spark said that one time.
A bisexual protagonist.
Yeah, bisexual protagonist in a relationship with another girl.
Such inspiring content that they make sure that can be not associated with them. It's been widely reported the Owl House was canceled because one executive at Disney didn't like it, but wouldn't go further on explaining why they didn't like it. I wonder which one.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, anyway, so before we get into kind of what's kind of the aftermath of this, is that this has happened. There was a lot of people talking about Chapek and Investor Day, where he was being kind of berated by both sides talking about this because he really stepped in it. And one thing that I wanted to highlight is that Pixar, who are so fed up with Disney that they even took a stand.
Right.
Pixar demanded that they do more, essentially. They're like, we can't just be doing this inspiring content thing because you keep taking out all our overtly homosexual or LGBTQ whatever text from all of our films.
Right.
So Pixar threw Disney once again under the bus.
Right.
And admittedly, I think they were right to.
I do too. It's really not going to go into like where I work and that kind of thing, but like I know that's such a large part of the Disney employee base, and it's only growing. That community is LGBTQ. Either they are part of that community or they are an ally of that community. That is most of that employee base.
Yeah.
So it's really, really upsetting to act like the company is not fueled by those people.
Yeah. The thing that I was talking to Azara about, where it's like, the buck stops at Disney. Like, Chapek is it. That's it. That's the end of it. With Universal, like, if it came out that NBC or Comcast or whoever the hell owns Universal at this point was giving money to these people, who probably they are, because a lot of executives are really conservative, that's not on Universal. Universal can't do anything about it because they're owned by somebody.
Right.
Their executives can try to fight back through content or through their own policies, but but Disney's not like that. Disney is not owned by another company. Disney owns everything.
Right.
And so it's a very different situation that Disney is a part of. The other thing is a lot of those people are inspired because there was a really prominent gay animator at Disney through the 90s.
Right.
Who animated some incredible characters that people have related to over the years.
Beauty and the Beast, Scar,
Ursula.
Oh, God, who
Yes.
else? Just
Anyway, all this is a lot to say.
I know the next thing you're getting to, and it's to me the big thing.
Right.
That like the moment it happened, it blew my mind.
So all this is to say that basically Disney said we're going to pledge $5 million to the Human Human Rights Campaign, HRC. $5 million. Not even a full budget of a movie.
Trying to make up for this was so clearly the like, we throw some money at a donation and everybody accepts that, like, we're doing something. We're not just putting words out, we're doing something.
Except HRC rejected the donation.
Flat out said do better. And would not take the $5 million until they do. And that was big.
Yeah.
That was
I never
huge.
saw that happen before.
Huge.
That was a big middle finger. It's like,
Yeah. Basically
that was you don't get off this easy.
And absolutely right, because the thing is, if Chapek hadn't sent that email, none of this would be happening.
Nope.
Right.
And they said they rejected the donation because they're like, you need to take meaningful action in this. Well, Chapek's meaningful action seems to be that he has stopped all donations to both parties in Florida. So no political donations in Florida.
Right. And he says that they're bringing a team to reassess how they do donations, what they do. And to the credit, I will say there has been a surge for the company's website that we access of seminars to engage with conversations about LGBTQ representative, to create a space for talking about specifically being upset about this right now.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're doing that.
I'm really glad that there are a lot of people who work at Disney who are not afraid to. People quit over this. People were not afraid to stand up to this thing. People who work there, people whose lives depend on this,
right?
On this company, they took a stand. I'm really happy to see that, because the thing is, at this point, I'm sorry, Chapek, all eyes are on you.
Yeah, it's not enough, frankly. Like what Chapek is doing right now is not enough, but it's also more than I ever thought I'd see.
Yeah.
Like I'm so impressed that we got to this level. I don't know that the correct. I mean, I do. I personally think that the correct response is no political donations by executives of companies. I think that is a very wise thing. But the fact that like it's only being done in Florida, like there's a lot that they need to reanalyze, and I hope that comes out, and I hope this pressure kind of stays on, and I hope that real change comes from this, because Disney is supposed to be a beacon for our future, specifically for our kids, of what the future can be. And if they're not taking an active role in standing up for the content that the people who work for their company want to create to help inspire, as Chapek is saying, if they're not doing it, which they're not, we need to make them.
Yeah. There was also a Iger said there was something happening in Georgia. And obviously Disney films a lot in Georgia, especially Marvel. Iger took a stand when he was the CEO and said, like, if a specific legislation, forgive me, I don't have it in front of me, but like if a specific legislation goes through, we will no longer film in Georgia.
Right. This was a big thing. A lot of places were threatening this with Georgia. I also forget exactly what that was right now.
I want to say it was the voting rights bill.
I want to say it was the voting rights bill too.
Yeah, me too.
I think because it's also, it made me remember last year, because last year the baseball All-Star game was supposed to be in Atlanta where the Braves play, but they moved it from Atlanta to Colorado because essentially like MLB baseball said, we're not going to have the All-Star game in Georgia if you pull this vote. This voting rights bill.
Either way, Ben.
Yeah.
Either way, the bill is currently being contested in court. So that's why
it was the abortion law.
The abortion law.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. That bill is being contested in court at the moment, and so like that's why nothing has changed. But the fact that Iger was willing to make that statement, make that poll, shows a lot about his character. And Iger was very much willing to. Obviously, he had to toe the company line, and he was probably a lot more conservative than he wanted his public persona to be, because he was very much like he was very much current. He's looking very good at this point, specifically because Chapek's put his foot in his mouth so badly. But at the end of the day, just kind of skipped my point. It's like Chapek is really dropping the ball over at Disney. He is making a lot of the wrong choices.
Oh yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. Right. Who knows?
Sparks Witty. Do you know?
Look, my business daddy and I don't get along. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I hope this leads to meaningful change. I do.
Yeah, me too. This was that HRC move. I think that will embolden the fact that it did something. I think that will embolden people to put the pressure back when they get that and be like, no, you do more.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it's not good right now for LGBTQ people.
No,
it's not.
It's not good for a lot of people, but it's definitely not good for LGBTQ people.
But you just had this week, J.K. Rowling did more this week.
What did she do?
I'm not going to go into it, but like she did something this week, and like the trans community is hurting. The fact that like this bill was said, like you can, like Iger in the Investor Day meeting, the thing that had my blood boil, it's not Iger, Chapek, the thing that had my blood boil was the fact that he's like, I've talked to the representatives. There's no way that this bill could be used to attack these people. And it's like, yes, it can. Yeah. Yes, it can.
Well, because that's also those representatives' lines. You know, I'm upset that Chapek said that too, but he's just parroting exactly what they would have said to him. Yeah. Because that's what they're saying in the press. They're saying there is no way that this can be used to attack. You know, this is just a blanket policy of not saying this in these forums. It's not saying like, oh, aggression should be amped up towards these people, which of course, like, yeah, if you're not reading the subtext of things, then sure.
Yeah. It's just frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm glad we took the time to talk about it because it's an important thing. The moment that the HRC thing happened, I was like, we gotta talk about this. This is wild.
Yeah.
I've never seen a company be put on its back foot so hard.
I've never seen Disney get put on its back foot so hard.
Yeah. Over something related to like donations to politicians. Like I have not seen this kind of like backlash actually like push them back this far. I'm really happy to see it.
Disney has a way of pushing these sort of things under the rug, and very successfully.
Right.
And this does not happen this time.
Right. And like, there's a lot, as Brandon brought up, there's a lot of other parties that need to be held accountable for the exact same kind of shit. But Disney holds such a special place in the homes of so many families.
Yeah.
That it definitely needs to at least start there.
Yeah.
Especially, again, with a company that is fueled by the work of that community.
Mm-hmm. Be the change you want to see in the world. So it's the easiest line to say in the world. All right, let's move on then.
Sure.
Ben is super excited because Super Nintendo World is opening next year. That's the news.
Or is it?
Better.
Yeah. I was watching
2 Electric Boogaloo.
I was at Universal Studios recently. Well, not that recently, but last time I was there, I was able to see the land. It looks pretty impressive what they're building over there.
Did you see Mario?
No, they hadn't put him in yet.
Well, damn.
Yeah, I
saw a block. I saw a green block.
Did you now?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah,
magic being created every day, huh?
I haven't been to Universal Studios essentially since the pandemic started, but I am just stoked to go. I was hoping it was going to come out this year, but we got a release date, or we got an opening date, I should say, next year. That's fine. I'm just excited, and I'm just also excited because California's getting theirs. Because normally, if you look back at like all the stuff Orlando gets, and then we get after that. We never get stuff before Orlando.
Orlando doesn't have the room right now.
What's up?
Orlando doesn't have the room right now.
Dude, we don't have the room. You kidding me?
No, we just demolished a parking garage. We got the room. We just don't know how to use it. Orlando has all of their lands right now where this would go are very popular. So they can't they can't demolish anything. We can demolish a lot and put up something new.
Like we got rid of E.T. to put in the Mummy, and then we got rid of Terminator to put in Gru.
We got rid of Backdraft to put in Transformers.
Yeah.
They tried to buy the golf course so they didn't have to demolish something to put in Nintendo World.
So friend of the podcast, Jeff, when he worked there, he was like, yeah, they're thinking about trying to buy the golf course. So I'm like, yeah, do it. Build more stuff over there. Because they got rid of the Gibson Amphitheater to put in Wizarding World.
Yeah, I wonder what they put in Secret Life of Pets something. I don't remember. Anyway,
yeah, they did. I don't know where the heck that is, but either way, Super Nintendo World 2023. I'm super excited. I cannot wait to go. It's a goal.
And Sparks.
Yo.
You like the Muppets? I like the Muppets.
I do. You're correct.
Do you like what are they called? Electric Mayhem?
I definitely do.
Well, they're getting a TV show.
No shit.
The Muppets Mayhem has been announced for Disney Plus, straight to series. A new original Disney Plus series starring Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, which is going to be about them trying to finally record their first ever album.
I'm really happy about this. I think this has a really unique potential to be a cool Muppets project. I didn't love the most recent Muppets piece from Disney Plus, not the Haunted Mansion special, but the show Muppets Now. I thought that was just kind of the YouTube stuff taken up a small notch. And I know what I really want, and what I really want is the Muppet Show again. I don't know why we're not just doing the Muppet Show again. I think it's been long. I think it's been long enough. We could do or Muppets Tonight, which was the 90s revival of the Muppet Show. Like both of those, great. I don't quite know why we're not doing that. Yeah. Like everything is now about a show around the Muppets doing their show, but it's not the Muppets doing their show. It's something happening around it. Whether that's the Muppets on ABC, which I liked a lot actually, or the films or whatever. But like,
hey, I'm sorry, Kermit.
I think we're at the right time for just a Muppet Show again. But that's just me. But I am still happy to see this. I'm glad they're doing something with the Muppets. Good Lord.
Yeah, I was reminded this week of the sometimes I just drive around the lot in the golf cart just to feel something or whatever, and then like Lawrence Fishburne, Kermit, your show sucks. Strikes away. It's just, my favorite bit of that is just Lawrence Fishburne. Hey Kermit, I'm really sorry. That was really rude of me. I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Oh really? What was wrong? I was watching your show. It sucked. Drives off.
I remember that.
I think the Muppets ABC shows suffered from like not quite having its feet under it in the first couple episodes.
Mhm.
And I do think like the Miss Piggy Kermit drama was maybe a bit misguided the way they handled it. But
Yeah.
otherwise, the bones of that show were very good, and it did find its place, and I thought it got very, very funny.
One of my favorite jokes was this: we have a colored system for when Piggy is angry. It's red, she's crying; orange, I'm crying; green, get out of there.
Yeah,
very funny. I really like the water, Miss Piggy's water. What was it? 30 calories. It's water.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. I hope for the best with this. I really do. I think it's a very different take for a Muppets show. So
I have just been informed there's a high-speed chase happening outside my building.
Yeah, go to the TV.
That is what the noise. If you hear any sirens or helicopters, that is what that is. Okay, moving on. Jessica Jones is getting a new comic book.
Yeah.
Series.
Cool. Yeah, she is.
See, multiverse is in now, guys. Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, and now Jessica Jones. The Variants will be a new series written by Gail Simone with art by Phil Noto.
Hell yeah.
And basically the idea is that Jessica Jones is going to go across the multiverse and meet variants of herself. Obviously, the variant terminology came from Loki, but multiversal versions of her. So maybe some that had a far better life than her. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this team, so I think this could be cool.
Anything can be good.
Anything can be good. Especially with Gail Simone and Phil Noto on it.
True. Ben, you liked The Gentleman, correct?
I didn't see The Gentleman.
Oh, screw you.
I like The Gentleman.
Did you watch The Gentleman?
No.
So this is just for me then. Ben, I thought you watched The Gentleman.
I didn't see The Gentleman.
You gotta watch. You guys should watch. Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman is getting an adaptation on Netflix.
Cool.
An adaptation or a continuation?
They said adaptation. Might be a continuation, might not be. Guy Ritchie is directing the first 2 episodes, though.
Interesting.
Nice. So, there you go. Straight to series. That's cool. I liked that movie a whole lot. I'm really happy to see more from that universe. Moving on. God of War. They announced this week that God of War is receiving a live-action adaptation on Amazon Prime.
With The Rock.
Oh, God. Kill me.
I hope not. Please no. Please no.
He did just recently say that he's about to be in another big blockbuster video game.
I heard that.
He did.
Yeah, but I feel like then that would have been announced with this.
Yeah, probably. I don't think he couldn't do Kratos.
Yes, he could.
He wouldn't want to do Kratos as he should.
That's true. But he could do it.
If he let himself, Hey,
we don't know. It could be like his most heartfelt, emotional performance we've ever seen.
Question.
I guess.
Are we going from the very beginning of God of War, or are we
don't know.
Okay.
If it's The Rock, then you're doing the newer thing.
Yeah. If it's anybody else, you probably start at least first season those 3 games. Yeah. Not a lot of story there that you can really mine, but you could do all 3 in one season.
You probably could.
Just Kratos murdering people.
Yeah, and then the next season he gets a kid.
I feel like that stuff would be flashbacks.
Yeah,
I feel like you do the Norse stuff and you flash back to the Greek stuff.
Like fighting what's his face? Ares.
Do we want a live action adaptation though? Wouldn't it be best served as animation?
You would think, especially with who's that voice actor? Christopher Judge?
Christopher Judge played him in the new games, but he wasn't the original.
Yeah, true. He wasn't the original one.
I feel like the scope of it is pretty big, that it would be better served for animation. But I don't know. I guess they do some pretty impressive things for
I would say
live action.
So here's my thought. I would say if you're doing the Norse stuff, live action. If you're doing the Greek stuff, go animation. Because I would say
so live action,
giant hydras, you got
live action, a present day animation flashbacks. Deadly Class.
Okay, that'd be cool.
You have something on your mind?
I was trying to think about it. I think honestly, I don't think I really want an adaptation.
Yeah.
kinda there,
I
too.
think God of War is one of those, like, if we got an adaptation, I'd almost rather it was a story, not a story from the games.
Like Halo.
Yeah, I almost feel that way,
Yeah.
but I don't know what that story would be. You
Could
know,
be the
there's not a
prequel.
lot of room for that. Yeah, but that's just, that's just his family getting killed, and I don't need that.
No, I mean the prequel to the new game.
Oh, yeah, but like, I don't know if I want that either. You know, that's the thing. I guess like you could tell a pretty good adaptation of Kratos killing Zeus, but it's hard for me to see.
Yeah. I'm also a little trepidatious on this. I just Sony not really batting 1,000 right now.
I feel like it has to be the Norse stuff for an adaptation, because Kratos just has nothing to do as a character to bounce off of other than vengeance in the first 3, which is fine for a video game, but it's not for a live action adaptation, especially because like he wouldn't have anybody with him.
Yeah. And screaming. Lots of screaming.
Yeah, I just think that, like, I don't know if I trust Sony to do these adaptations. Like Last of Us is not out yet, but like Ratchet and Clank and Uncharted, I like Ratchet and Clank, but we're not really doing some great stuff here yet.
I think Last of Us will probably be good, but that's largely because that game was already structured like it could be a television show.
Sure.
So like, kind of the whole thing is you felt like you were playing an HBO series.
Mm-hmm. That's
kind of the whole thing. So I have faith Last of Us will probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
But I agree, like God of War just isn't something. It's just not something I think I want the adaptation for.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Ryan in the chat says God of War is 100% Norse with Greek flashbacks. Yeah, that will.
I'm inclined to agree.
Me too.
Yeah.
Ryan, you know the deal. You know how this goes.
You're drunk.
He is drunk.
But since he's here, let's talk about Dune.
Ooh.
Because Dune is talking. Denis Villeneuve apparently is talking to 2 new cast members. Austin Butler, who will soon be seen in the Elvis biopic by Baz Luhrmann this week, is in talks to play Fade Routha Harkonnen. If you remember the books, which we talked about on a book club, right. Yeah, pretty cool. And then Florence Pugh is in talks to play Princess Rulin.
Yeah. I have strong feelings about the Pugh. I'm not familiar enough with Austin Butler to have feelings one way or another, but I'm all about Florence Pugh coming in. Yes, it is.
Because at first I read it as Pug. I was like,
no,
what the heck
Pugh.
is Pug?
Yeah, Ryan wanted Barry Cohen for Fade Routha.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I kind of wanted because mainly because Robert Pattinson said he was interested in doing Dune. I kind of wanted him. But yeah, Barry Keoghan would be great as that character.
Boys, look who's here.
Mag, hello, sir. Mag in the chat. Okay, moving on. We've known for a while that the worst kept secret of Marvel Studios is that a Halloween special about Werewolf by Night is coming, and it's going to film soon. They've tapped a director, surprisingly, the composer Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, this is wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe has only directed a Star Trek short outside of this.
As far as I know, I recently rewatched that short. It's very good.
Yeah, well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he'll do with this. This will be a live action thing, not an animation thing. And so, yeah, man, if he wants to get into directing, I love his music. Why not?
Why not?
You know, will he be the first director to compose his own thing? No, John Carpenter did that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That's definitely happened before.
Yeah. Okay, but that's cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
Deadpool 3 also has a director, Sean Levy. Ryan Reynolds made this official this week. The director of Free Guy, Adam Project, Sean Levy will direct Deadpool 3. This is the 3rd director that Deadpool has gotten, replacing Atomic Blonde. Yep,
it was
that guy.
John Wick.
No, he did John Wick. He did the first John Wick, then Atomic Blonde, then Deadpool 2, and now he's doing Bullet Train.
Okay. I will Google it.
But yeah, anyway, Sean Levy, awesome. I'm really enjoying his work right now. Obviously, I really love
David Leitch.
David Leitch. I I really like Date Night and Real Steel before Free Guy. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm into this. Can't wait.
Yeah. Yes, they clearly work well together.
Yeah. We'll talk about his latest movie in a bit. Craven the Hunter has cast Christopher Abbott as the Foreigner. I don't know who that character is. I was kind of hoping Ryan would be here to say who. So Ryan, if you're still in the chat, why don't you tell us who the Foreigner is, and we'll read it out loud.
Oh, he is. He's talking about Tim Miller and Chad Keanu Boy.
Yes, Tim Miller did. No, Chad Stahelski did not do Deadpool 2, but Tim Miller did the first Deadpool. I have a feeling that Ryan Reynolds is the pure creative process that is getting Deadpool 3 made, because he probably went to Kevin Feige and was like, you cannot cancel this movie because I spent too long getting this franchise off the ground, and you better let me keep doing this.
Yeah. So Ryan is here. He says the Foreigner is, drumroll please, a guy.
Great. Can't wait.
Great. I can.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, more excited for Deadpool 3 than this. And then the TV show the CW show Gotham Knights has cast a few people.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, quite a few people. So Oscar Morgan will play a new character called Turner Hayes, who is an orphan who was adopted by Bruce Wayne. Olivia Rose Keegan will play Dwella Dent. And this version will be the daughter of the Joker, like she is in most comic book versions. Described as an abrasive, unpredictable, and a little unhinged. And then Navia Robinson will play Carrie Kelly. In this story, she's a former Robin. So her timeline is far closer to that of like Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. And then Fallon Smythe will play Harper Row, Scott Snyder's creative character who turned into Bluebird. And then Tyler DiChiara will play Cullen Rowe, her brother. The show's happening, I guess? It's only got a pilot order, right?
Yes, I believe so at this time.
Yeah. So cool. I mean, look, if it's good, I'll check it out. It doesn't seem to be connected to the rest of the CW verse.
I mean, I've been telling you Legends is good. You haven't checked that out yet.
Legends I gotta catch up on, but I could watch the first episode of something.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like I did with the Superman and Lois.
Yeah. That's true.
Look, I will catch up on Legend of Tomorrow someday. I want to. I
get you.
I gotta find the time.
Yeah. No, I know. It's hard. It's hard, baby. It's hard.
Oh, I just realized what episode of Star Trek Star is on. Yes. Okay. Sparks, you wrote this one down here in the delay section of our show. Did you want to read it?
Sure. Let me pop open my docs on my phone. Oh, that sounded different. Okay, real quick. So we're about to talk about a bunch of delays, but the first few of these are definitely stemming from what's still going on in the Ukraine. So let me just go ahead. The invasion in Ukraine is still happening, and we still obviously are thinking of them and stand in support of that country currently suffering. This week, the website itch.io, that's itch.io, put up a bundle hosted by Necrosoft Games of 991 indie games valued at $6,500 for a minimum donation of $10, friends. That goes to support Ukraine through two charities, International Medical Corps and Voices of Children. Over $5 million has already been raised. And this is a really great and easy way that you can contribute, that you can help out. And you get so many games, guys. And like they are all for your computer. But like there's some good bangers in there for indie games. Like you're getting way more than your money's worth if you just go in at the $10. Like really, really go ahead and do it. And
the link where this could be found is in the description below.
Thank you, Brandon.
Of course. You can check that out and support. Because what's happening there is really terrible.
Absolutely. Do it. Easy way to get a bunch of really great, like definitely some great games in there. Probably a lot of really other cool, enjoyable little indie gems. Like have a great time.
Yeah. Speaking of Ukraine, though, going into some of the news here is that it has delayed Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. Nintendo has decided to delay the Switch release for that game.
Yes,
in response to this, to this happening.
Because
and actually, this is not the first time they've done this. This is actually not the first time they had to delay the release of Advance Wars. When the game originally came out on the Game Boy, it was slated to come out in September of 2001. And we all know what happened then. So
What happened then?
Gee, I don't know, one of the most horrible, terrible terrorist attacks in the United States. Anyways, Nintendo hasn't given out a specific release date of when they're gonna officially release Advance Wars 1 2 Reboot Camp. The game is still coming as far as we know, but a lot of people, of course, on Twitter are kind of, some of them are saying this is a good thing. Of course, some of them are saying, oh, this is just a fictional story. It's still war, and the antagonists of the game they're fictional countries, of course, but the antagonists still give off a Russian vibe. And Nintendo is saying, look, this is not the correct time to release this game. Even though that it's chibi, it's cartoon, it's cute and all that stuff, it's still a war. People are dying. Your units are dying.
Yeah.
So I have to say, go Nintendo for pushing this back a little bit.
And then Stalker 2, a game that Ryan said he was very excited for, is being developed by a Ukraine developer.
Yep.
They obviously holding the game indefinitely.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's probably going to be more of this as things draw on for now. Think again, like, awful situation.
Yeah.
I hate that we're here.
Me too. Gotta kind of like decompress after a lot of that. Really sucks. Look, donate if you can, help out where you can. Look, it's not, things aren't great right now. And okay. Remember when we had to see the Batman and there was this whole trailer for all these DC movies that are coming out this year?
Yeah, those are getting pushed back.
Man, this was wild.
This was crazy. So let's start with Black Adam. Black Adam, which has been in development for well over a decade, has been pushed from July 29th, which is its original release date, to October 21st of this year. So it is still coming out this year, but in October instead.
Right.
The DC League of Super Pets, the other Rock-led film, is now coming instead of May 20th. Is now coming in Black Adam slot of July 29th.
Right.
So, Aquaman of the Lost Kingdom, this upset me, was pushed from its December 16th, 2022 release date to March 17th, 2023.
I am less upset about this one specifically because James Wan was out there posting about like having the time to get the visual effects done and not wanting to put the team on crunch. And I'm always for like, don't put your team on crunch.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that specifically came out, I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, delay your movie.
Yeah. I was talking about it on the Pigner's Watch that we just recorded. Like, you'll get better results if you're given time.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I definitely am sad more than anything. Even though I wouldn't want to wait longer necessarily if we don't have to. I'm sad to see Aquaman lose that December timeframe. I thought that was a good time for Aquaman.
Me too. It might be partially responsible for its for the original $1 billion gross.
Who knows?
But The Flash has been pushed from November 4th of this year to June 23rd of next year, which makes it its sixth delay since March 23rd, 2018.
God. We keep joking that this movie's never going to come out. We have a trailer, so now it's like, okay, it is going to happen, but bloody hell, again?
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced this movie is made.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and finish.
Well, the other thing is that that Batgirl is most likely getting delayed,
right?
Because of this, because Michael Keaton's Batman was supposed to be reintroduced in this film, and
we assume that must be relevant.
He's in Batgirl, so
yeah.
Batgirl does not have an official release date, but it was said to have come out this year, towards the end of the year. It is likely at this point it is pushed till after Flash.
Yeah.
MAGA saying, shake my head, these pushbacks, especially in the trailer for Batman for bat marketing.
I always thought that meant so much hate.
I thought that too.
Oh,
so shake my head.
Yeah.
One of us is wrong then.
One of us is wrong. Or maybe we're both right. I'm just interpreting it wrong.
Okay. But some good news in this. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, the second Shazam movie, has been... What? What's wrong with it? Ryan?
What the fuck is wrong with this Flash movie?
Yeah.
We don't know, bud.
And that's the thing is this one is specifically, I guess, the rumor is, and I'll take these with a grain of salt, the rumor is that this is because of reshoots. The Flash specifically is because of reshoots. Who knows what that could mean?
Right.
I guess we'll know if Michael Keaton's written out of the Batgirl movie.
They saw
what
that
means.
saw that Multiverse of Madness trailer and they went, "Oh shit!"
Right? And like it's just like there was the rumor is that the execs aren't happy with some characters' inclusion, implying to be Michael Keaton returning as Batman. So like I don't know if I believe any of this, but like seriously, like this is what's happening.
Shake my head.
Oh, apparently there's
No, Ryan's laughing at it.
Oh, he's laughing at him. That's funny.
Shake my head.
Well, shake my head then. Anyway, Shazam! Fury of the Gods has been pushed up. Apparently, that movie is like the first one is The Little Engine That Could. That movie is done early, so it's been pushed up from June 2nd, 2023 to December 12th, 2022, which puts it just a couple days before Avatar 2.
Yeah, that's great. It's like a consolation prize, but I'm happy to get Shazam this year.
Yeah.
It's just weird that this happened. It's weird because they clearly had so much confidence going into this year, and that sizzle reel has really like hit them right in that artery in the leg, just like really taking them out. Bummer. I felt like they were trying to ramp up some real momentum.
Me too.
And this definitely feels like a stall.
Yeah, the next film that DC puts out is
there are going to be people confused because like there's people who aren't us who like go to the movie theaters. They're like, oh damn, there's all these DC movies this year. And they're going to get to like June and they're going to be like, why haven't I seen a damn Flash trailer? Like I thought that movie was this year.
With not counting DC League of Super Pets, but like the next DC film is Black Adam.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right. Well, it still was.
So Ben, pull it up.
He goes, no, it's shaking my head. Y'all wrong. Ben is the captain now.
Well, there you go.
I feel validated. Thank you, Ryan.
Good for you, Ben.
Shake my head.
So much hate. So much hate. Okay. Anyway, I hope that Avatar 2. Look, never bet against James Cameron, but like I hope that Shazam gets a good run of some solid money before Avatar 2 is released. I know it's not a lot of, it's like 4 days, but like let's hope it makes some money before Avatar 2 just like destroys it.
Yeah.
The other dates that came out that were released was Wonka, which is Timothée Chalamet's new film, December 15th, and this was interesting. The Meg 2, The Trench, August 4th of 2023.
We had no need to talk about it, but the female lead from the original The Meg, she's out on. She's not in the sequel.
You mean Ruby Rose?
No, the one that he was falling in love with.
Oh, I don't remember who that was.
Yeah, she was the main like Chinese star to
pull
in those audiences, but they actually had good chemistry. Well, she's not in it.
Oh. I mean, in fairness, I wasn't really too excited about it.
And it sounds like they're not replacing her, but they're still keeping her daughter.
Weird.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
To be fair, I wasn't really excited about this movie anyway.
What? It's a big shark.
What? That movie's not very good.
That movie was great. I don't know what you're talking about.
You said yourself you didn't much care for the movie.
I mean, like on the scale of shark movies, it's still in the top 5.
That's not a high bar.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's there.
All right, whatever.
I mean, let's be real. The bar is located at the bottom of the Mariana Trench anyway.
Trailers. Trailers. Moonshot. Cole Sprouse.
Do we want to talk about that Sonic trailer?
Oh, you mean?
Boy, I knew I'd get Ben.
Yeah.
I saw that. And I was like...
The thing that gets me is they really made a 2-minute, 30-second trailer that's only the first 25 seconds of important stuff and then just a title card for the rest of them. Like, Jesus.
I loved it.
That was good. Because I saw the tweet that you guys sent in our thread this morning, and I'm like, oh, cool. I was like, oh, what do you mean they got you? So I was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch that trailer because I went to Grayson's house. I started watching it, and then it's like, did you catch it? I was like, what do you mean, Dad? Oh, you mother effer.
The real trailer is tomorrow.
Yeah, real trailer is tomorrow. Although that's really good clickbait because you can tell it's like, oh, it's only like a short thing by how long it is. 2 minutes 28 seconds. It's like, oh, that's a real trailer. Click. Oh, they got me.
Yeah, I clicked on it and I was like, oh, that's a long thing, and I was like, oh wait, is this just the title? And so I scrubbed a bit and I was like, man, that's brilliant. I talked to my phone. I was like, this was brilliant. Good job, Paramount.
God.
The
All right.
Halo, the second Halo trailer is also dropping tomorrow.
Cool. So Moonshot.
Moonshot, Cole
Yeah,
Sprouse.
this looks really cute.
This was cute.
Man, I mean, like, we can make some pretty quality looking Xenon type films these days.
I got the same thing.
Yeah.
Very
I mean, like,
Xenon-esque.
I'm really glad that we can do like these kind of really low level meet cute kind of movies, but now with space.
Yeah. The guy from Love Victor, who's also in Scream, I've been seeing him a lot in things. He was not my first choice for someone to break out of Love Victor, but he's good. So
I think this looks fine.
yeah, sure. Looks like a nice little Sunday night you can put on with your girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
What about Apollo 10.5, A Space Age Childhood? This is by the same guy who did The Scanner Darkly.
There's some stuff I really like in here. I'm not crazy about this style of animation. I never have been.
Thank God I'm not the only one.
I don't like the animation style. I didn't even like it in Scanner Darkly.
Like the other, like the content of like what I was seeing outside the animations, like that's actually kind of funny. They made the module too small so a kid has to fly it. I think that's funny.
Yeah,
but I just don't like the way it looks.
I mean, what it is, so it's rotoscoped animation. It's so these actors are doing things and they're animated. They're animating on top of it. They did the same thing as Scanner Darkly. I think A Scanner Darkly is a pretty good movie, but the animation makes it mostly unwatchable for me.
I think A Scanner Darkly also benefits its own animation by the content of the story it's telling.
Yeah,
helps with that animation, and this is like, so I like the environments in this animation, but the people, I'm still not crazy about it. I never have been, but the environments are kind of working for me, especially for the setting of the time period.
Sure.
There's something that feels almost like it could be thematically like, I'm trying to find the right words. This feels like the kind of like posters you get when they're like, they're advertising a new community coming to the area at this time, the time frame that we're set in, and that kind of art style in motion. And that almost makes me cool with it because I like some of what's going on in the story here and some of the lines. That whole bit in the car about the hippie is really good. I don't know if I can get past it though. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. DMZ.
I'm interested in this show. This trailer didn't do a lot for me.
It kind of looked like every other post-apocalyptic thing.
It did nothing to make it stand out.
Yeah. I've not read the comic it's based on, in fairness, so I'm not sure if I'd be interested in otherwise, but like there was nothing in this trailer that I thought like, yeah, I should definitely check this out.
Yeah, it just didn't have a hook.
Yeah. Rosario Dawson is not a hook, I'm afraid.
Well, that's the thing, is like nobody in the cast really is. Like, no offense to them, there's a lot of people I like in here. Benjamin Bratt's in here. He's not, I wouldn't call him a hook though. Like, it felt like you needed to get us in on the story, and I just don't feel like it did it.
Yeah, I got that. Why don't we move on to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? This is the trailer that dropped.
I was going to say real quick with on the DMZ thing, I was more interested from the behind-the-scenes featurette where they were talking about the roles they're playing.
Oh, sure.
Than I was by this trailer.
Yeah. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent released the trailer that released with the Batman.
Yeah, so I thought we kind of talked about this a little bit last
I wasn't sure, so I put it on. I put it on because the trailer actually dropped online this week.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I do think we kind of talked about it, but like, yeah, I mean, I want to see it.
I really like the hook.
It's nice to know more about what's going to happen.
Yeah, the idea that like he's working for the CIA is a really cool concept that I'm really into.
Are those my golden guns? No, they're my golden guns.
Pedro Pascal and he look like they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
they do. They really do. I think that one shot of him that's right near the end where you see him and he's got like the hair and the makeup on. Yeah, really accentuates like, see, you don't need to do CGI all the time, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Real quickly, Ben, why don't you bring up Ryan's comment about the DMZ comic?
Yeah, Ryan said it's a good comic book show, but yeah.
All right. Then let's go on to Gundam, Kukuru's Doan's Island.
Kukuru's Dawn's Island.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm really happy this trailer dropped right after I brought it up last week. So this is the movie that I was mentioned last week. For those who didn't catch this, this is a film adaptation of a single episode from Mobile Suit Gundam. It's episode 15 of the series, which is not usually released internationally. And they've gone through pretty good lengths to pretty much bury it. It's not considered an official part of the story anymore, because they were so disappointed in like the animation for this one in particular. There's just a lot of off modeling. There's a lot of problems in it, so they've tried to kind of really distance themselves away from it. And this is kind of a let's reclaim ourselves in the light of this moment, which is really interesting because it's honestly kind of a fillery episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's not complete filler, but it's close. It's pretty much as close as Mobile Suit Gundam gets to filler. And so it's really interesting that they're going to turn that into a whole 90-minute spectacle. But that being said, it is really great to be in this moment where I'm watching the show and see all these characters recreated in a more modern, sleek animation. I'm like, oh my god, they look so good.
And they look like the same character models.
They are. They're like they're updated for sure, but like they're doing the eyes the same for all the characters. Like Bright's eyes look different from everyone else's, which I really love. It's doing my favorite thing, which is a blend of 2D, 3D, and the 3D is being used for mechanical things. I think 3D animation looks best on mechanical pieces. When it's non-organic things, I think that's where 3D anime looks best. And so it being used for the Gundams, the mobile suits, looks great. Really love it. I think it's really poppin'. But the fact that they're using all 2D for everything else, I'm like, yes, this is exactly how you do it. I told Ryan this. It made me go, I think they should just remake Mobile Suit Gundam. I honestly do. I think like that show, like I understand like appreciating the classic work and that's originally there, but like you could really make the weight of that war story hit so much harder now with what you can do with animation. And you're taking the same story, just like updating that animation. If it all looked on this level, it would look incredible.
Yeah. I thought this looks really cool. I don't have a big connection to this version of Gundam, but yeah, I thought this looked really cool.
For those who don't know, the original series also has compilation films.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you didn't necessarily want to take on the whole series, but you wanted to remake those compilation films that tell the story of Mobile Suit Gundam, but do it in this animation, I think that's the way to go. I think that would be amazing. Like a solid trilogy of just like feel the classic Gundam stuff. Like I would think that would be nuts. I think that'd be awesome.
Ben, did you want to say anything? Because I know you also watched Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yeah, because I didn't even know about this episode until Sparks mentioned it last week or a while ago. And I have to say, the animation does look gorgeous. I also echo what he's saying, that because they did this in Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, whereas all the characters are 2D animated, but the second you get to the mobile suits and the fighting and like the mech on mech fighting, it's all 3D animation and it looks gorgeous. I think they also did for Unicorn too, but it's just gotten better. And I say, yeah, I actually would like to see them remake Mobile Suit Gundam in this style, but maybe in like the film way. Like, hey, this is them going to Earth, this is them going to Jaburo, this is them fighting, and then just like the big arcs, condense that into films, and then you have like here's the really good story of Mobile Suit Gundam.
This is such an interesting idea for a movie, doing an adaptation of just a random episode. I'm so fascinated by that idea. Like, I understand the way you've talked about the motivation of it, but like that's really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a let's come back and score a victory over this. What feels like for the company a little bit of a defeat.
Yeah.
In terms of that episode, and I think that's really cool. The plot, for those who are interested, who want to watch this trailer or are excited about the film, Amuro goes out answering a distress signal, and his ship gets brought down by a Zeon Zaku, but it turns out that it's actually being controlled by a Zeon soldier who deserted because he felt bad about killing a bunch of orphans' parents, and he's been looking out for them and protecting them on the island. That's Kukuru's Don. That's the deserter from Zeon. And ultimately his Zaku grabs more Zeon attention, and so he and Amuro have to team up to fight the other Zeon forces.
Cool.
It's good stuff.
All right. The Boys season 3 first trailer.
Yeah. My friend Miles is in in a blink and you miss it moment in this trailer, but good for
Oh,
him.
really?
He's he's the guy dancing on stage partway in.
That's cool.
That's my friend Miles. I'm real happy for him.
We see what looks like a commercial for A-Train's drink when he goes in front of the
Oh
protesters
my
and the
god,
cops.
the soda thing.
The soda?
Oh, God. Yeah, take the piss out of everything.
It looks like Butcher's getting powers now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting like I-beam powers.
We get a lot of looks at Jensen Ackles.
Yeah.
Coming
He looks
in.
good. He looks good.
Yeah. There's not too much to read into. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm really glad we finally got a look at it, and I think it looks really great.
Did you guys hear that the guy who plays Homelander got arrested in Spain?
I did.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. There's a lot of stuff that it looks unhinged in only the way that the boys could escalate to. There's like musical dance sequences that we see. There's what I love about this is we don't just see glimpses of plot. We see glimpses of what are clearly fantasy or commercials or in-universe things that I'm super here for.
Mm-hmm. Although I'm really scared of what that octopus is going to do with the Deep, though.
The Deep having sex with a woman looking at an octopus is quite frankly very funny.
It's funny, but
okay.
Oh God, Mag.
Oh
Homelander
yes.
actor becoming too close to character. Yep.
Do you even know who I am?
Oh, and of course Ryan. He goes, Kendall Jenner lives.
Yes.
My God.
Sparks, you put this one on here. I'm a little surprised. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
I mean, I sit here every once in a while and listen to you talk about any Star Trek trailer, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. Which I feel like you only felt the need not to talk about because you had the opportunity on Fake Nerds Watch.
I did.
But too bad for you. Because I also want to talk about this one because this is maybe the closest outside of Lower Decks that the modern Star Trek shows have gotten to making me go, okay, maybe.
Interesting. Really?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm very into going back to the classic time period right now.
Mm-hmm.
So taking this Ensign Mount story, and we're seeing a lot of different planets. Like this is more in the vein of like Star Trek I want to go into, maybe because it like doesn't feel like there's as many strings attached to go to it, you know?
Yeah. So this is
like I have stuff I have to watch to engage with a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, I get that. So in this one, this is what the showrunners have talked about. This is the show that's going to go back to a more episodic storytelling. There will be a thread throughout, but this is more we are going to different planets and we're doing these stories on this planet or on the ship or whatever. And Anson Mount is reprising his role as Captain Pike from Star Trek Discovery, which he took over from Jeffrey Hunter from the original pilot.
Do you want to know what it is, Brand? This is the one that feels like it's going to be the closest to Orville.
Sure, I totally get that. Yes,
and that's why I'm like I'm down with that.
Yeah,
that's where I want to live right now. So sure,
probably a lot less comedic though.
Oh sure, but I mean like in like the Star Trek version of what modern day Orville has been able to do, because Orville is like modernizing Star Trek in a way.
Yeah.
This feels like what the Orville does as far as like its episodic nature. While Threads have continued, Orville has also stayed pretty episodic.
Yeah.
And its ability to go and explore these different ideas with different planets, I feel like that's what this show wants to be, and I'm like, yeah, that is more what I want right now.
Yeah, Ryan and I talked about it, the idea of like, you know, you can't really remake that original show, but you can kind of do the same thing with a different captain. And I think Pike is a really good choice. Obviously, his Anson Mount was a great character on Star Trek Discovery, and so much so that there was a huge demand to get him his own show, and we finally got it. We're kind of exploring that time period with this character in kind of the same vein as the original Star Trek show, but modernized. Is very fun, and I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna watch it, but I'm really excited that you want to.
It's definitely. I mean, like, I want to take the big dive on Star Trek.
Yeah.
I made a choice. Realistically, I made a choice between Star Trek and Gundam, and I chose Gundam. On what I was gonna like full blown dive into.
Yeah.
But Strange New Worlds feels like the one where I'm like, maybe that is where I can get in on a week to week basis right now.
Yeah, sure.
I definitely like. I'm chasing that Orville feeling. but I don't need like the comedy necessarily. But I'm all about like that space venture explorer feeling, which is I think where this feels the closest to.
Yeah, I definitely get that sense too, and I hope I hope it pays off. It looks like a really good modernization of the original series. Also, like a lot of the tech is very similar but
Yeah,
updated.
yeah.
Um,
That shot where they beam down to the planet, I was like, oh, that felt good. And
Yeah.
I will admit, like, even not being a big Trek person because I haven't watched it, all this stuff, like the conversation about, you know, like when we go that first contact we have, we become an inspirational symbol, and like the kid holding the paper that turns into the ship, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, man. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
A lot of really cool, strange new worlds.
Yeah.
Mag's also excited for it. Curious and excited for Strange Worlds.
Yeah, it's probably the most I'm excited for Star Trek at this point. I really would be blown away if Picard ended on a really high note and then we moved on to a really good show. I'd be like, so that'd be just that's the dream right there.
Sure.
Okay, but speaking of stars, let's go to a different universe with Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. We got our first trailer.
I want to get my neg out of the way, which is the Grand Inquisitor is disappointing.
Very.
And like it'd be one thing. I agree with what people have been saying on Twitter, which is that it would be one thing if it was just like him from animation into live action, but he is of a race that we've seen. We have seen what they look like in live action, and they look better than this.
Yes.
And that is a bummer.
He is. To be fair though, I didn't know he was meant to be that species from Utapau prior. But I really like that character, and when I saw him, it looks kind of like they smushed his head down.
Yes.
Like he's wearing a bad bald cap.
Right, because you realize that that's like they did choose him out of that race.
Yeah.
And that's what they look like in Revenge of the Sith, is they have those big heads, and I'm like, well, it's kind of a bummer that we went away from that.
Yeah, he just doesn't look very menacing. He's missing the eyes. The lines in his face aren't as visible. It's just...
again, if we had no live action version of his species to compare it to, I wouldn't be as like bummer. But we do, and I've looked at the pictures, and I'm thinking about their appearance in Revenge of the Sith, and I'm like, I don't know how hard this would have been. Like, he looks really good. They look really cool. Yeah. I don't know why he can't look like this. Honestly, he just kind of looks like a dude.
Honestly, I didn't even know that was the Grand Inquisitor until someone mentioned that it was him. It was like, hey, this is what he looks like in animation. This is what he looks like. I was like, wait, what?
I didn't either. So I'm a huge Rebels fan. I love Rebels. I love the Inquisitors. They're my favorite new additions to canon. Like, I'm so excited. But like when I saw him in the trailer initially, I just didn't think I didn't think that was the Grand Inquisitor. I just thought it was an Inquisitor.
Yeah. That's my big bummer.
Yeah, Magazine fans even edited the heads and eyes.
I don't want to give that too much. I don't want to give that too much weight, because like I've seen some good fan edits, some bad fan edits. Like I do understand that there's a lot that can't be done due to his facial structure, the actor's facial structure. But I do think a little bit more care could have been done in the prosthetic work on his head, rather than just what to me looks like a bad bald cap.
Again, the big thing just being like, I don't understand why we didn't start from what we did in Revenge of the Sith and work from there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Ryan's on the same page.
Yeah. He goes, hey y'all, I'm back. Glad you agree on the Inquisitor. Looks so bad. Duel of the Fates music does a lot for this trailer, in my opinion. Yeah, it does.
Especially for that Inquisitor being the most iconic of the Inquisitors. Yes. Like I'm disappointed that we didn't nail that look. That just feels like it was a bar that wasn't that hard to miss. And
it's not something they can go back and fix, because it is a practical effect, which hey, props to doing a practical effect. That's what it's done is done.
Yep.
I don't necessarily. I really like this trailer. Otherwise, though, I'll be honest. I really like this trailer. I love.
What
I love this plot line of seeing like a beaten down hero, kind of. Obi-Wan has lost everything, and he's happy to do this mission, but there's a sense of like. I let the galaxy down. I let the Jedi Order down. I like the kind of Luke Skywalker Last Jedi sense that we're getting from Obi-Wan here, and kind of seeing him grow to the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan is very intriguing to me, and I'm so excited to see that growth. Hopefully, it's written well, but that got me very excited.
Yeah. yes, I think Ryan brought it up. The Duel of the Fates, like good needle drop use in this trailer. The environments look good. There's a lot of visually engaging stuff. I'm happy for. Excuse me.
Appreciate
It is another thing that I talked about on Twitter with a friend. This is, I guess, is a much more minor neg of just like kind of wish there was a little more gray in Obi-Wan's hair. I feel like he should be a little bit more along to being Alec Guinness than he is, but for 9 years out, but that's fine. I am intrigued in what this show can do, because this has the opportunity for being the transition of Obi-Wan from the Jedi recluse into the hermit.
Mhm.
And I think that, like, I'm hoping that the point of the show is that while Obi-Wan knows that Anakin is lost to him, there's a difference between knowing and accepting.
Yes.
And I hope this is accepting. Like, what we're going to go through is the accepting.
Right.
Which brings him to his kind of inner peace level that he has in A New Hope.
I totally agree with that. Like, I really like the idea that this could be him going from, now he knows that Darth Vader is alive, is Anakin Skywalker, and he wants to kind of try again, but he accepts that it's not possible anymore. He can't turn him back. And we know that other people have gotten close to turning Anakin back, turning Vader back into Anakin prior to Luke doing it. We saw Ahsoka do it. It got very close. So it makes sense that, like, Obi-Wan would also attempt to, and maybe even get pretty close. But at the end of the day, the only person who is destined to turn Vader back into Anakin is Luke.
And I think giving Obi-Wan the opportunity for that background to inform his statement that he's more machine than man now.
Yeah.
I think there's room for that to really, really play as something strong here. I agree, Ryan. I also love Space Madripoor.
I really like the new location.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool looking stuff. I'm really hoping for the best here. I hope we get really good Obi-Wan development in terms of that Anakin stuff. I have to imagine that's why Hayden Christensen is there. I have to imagine that we're getting some flashback stuff. I long for it. I love anything that's going to deepen that relationship for them.
Me too. Otherwise there's no point in getting back Hayden Christensen back as Vader.
He is not coming back just to, like, have one scene where he doesn't have the helmet on.
No, exactly. Like, there's no way. The other thing is that, like, the trailer, what I thought was interesting, was never see him ignite his lightsaber.
Yeah.
We see him with a gun. We never see him ignite his lightsaber. I thought that was really cool.
I hate to tell you, Mag, but unless there's a flashback, Ventress is dead.
Ventress, yes. Ben, if you could bring up Mag's comment.
Yeah. I hate it. I wish they hadn't done that, but they did. They killed her, so she's gone.
Prior to the rise of the Empire.
I wish that wasn't true, but it is.
Right prior to the rise of the Empire, she dies?
Yeah.
So unfortunate.
Earlier than I wish she had at all, yeah.
But to be fair, they could retcon that. They've done it before.
Yeah, but that's a Disney book that kills her. They're less. I think that being a point that they killed her in that book, I don't think they'll ever retcon that.
Maybe not.
Which is unfortunate, because I live in a space where, like, I wanted a more Asajj Ventress focused story at some point, and I don't think there's room for it now because of that.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Anything else I want to touch on about Obi-Wan?
No, I'm optimistic.
Okay, though, Ryan, no.
Darth Maul, though.
I listened to a podcast where everybody on there is fans of Rebels and watched Rebels, and they were like, there absolutely must be a live action recreation of the Darth Maul fight in this series, and I'm like, no. How can you feel that? Like, no, there doesn't need to be.
The thing that I saw on Twitter a lot was people talking about how they'd want to see, like, oh, could Darth Maul show up in the show? It's like, no, this happened already. We know when this happened. We know that Darth Maul and Obi-Wan fight years after this time period. Ben, do you want to bring up his last comment before we move into this?
Yeah. He says, been reading a lot of comics today, and I can for sure say they'll ignore some of this shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I think, there is a difference between, certain story elements that can still kind of work, and then, like, a major character within the franchise dying.
Yeah.
It's like Atlas Akira? No, it's the bounty hunter in Solo that they just kind of write off quickly. Jesus. Lando was having trouble with the bounty hunter that Woody Harrelson killed.
I don't remember.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm very excited for the show. Either way, I really like this trailer. I can't wait for more.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we move into our main topic?
It is that time.
Okay, so which movie do we want to do first?
Well, you tell me.
Let's do Turning Red first.
Sounds good.
All right, so Turning Red. So this is full spoilers for Turning Red, the new Pixar animated film that is on Disney Plus currently. Again, full spoilers. You've been warned. Let's go right into it. What do we think about Turning Red?
I loved it.
Ben?
I loved it too.
I also really loved it. I thought this was a lot of fun.
Yay! I'm not surprised. It's Pixar.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Soul a lot, but I didn't love Soul. I liked Luca a lot. I didn't love Luca. As part of it was kind of thinking, like, am I just aging out of the Pixar kind of ideal? But I really loved this. I thought this was really good.
I think the animation's exceptional. I think they did such a good job creating a world that felt wholly unique from other Pixar worlds, but still felt like I can tell Pixar made this. But it doesn't feel like any world they've been to before, or the way that they've made a movie before. Like, there's a lot of the way it's very anime inspired with a lot of its animation cuts specifically to people's faces and getting tight on them and things like that. I just adored it animation wise. And I think the characters are all really good. I like the story behind it. I think it's got a good heart and a good message. I'll be honest, I feel like it's missing something, and I've been thinking about it since I watched it, and I can't put my finger on it. I really couldn't tell you what it is, but I feel like there's just something there.
For me, it was a little frustrating because I knew where the story was going to go. It's not that hard to figure out that the idea is that she needs to be accepting of herself and the panda within her. I almost wish that the end had made it so that maybe not all of them, but like more of the family kept their panda.
Like maybe the mom kept her panda too.
Maybe not the mom because that's a really big panda, but like someone like the grandmother.
When the mom was going through, it was like, this has turned into a kaiju movie really quick. This is like, wow, okay.
I feel like I hear you, but I feel like that would cheapen the importance of May's choice.
Yeah.
Because it's a choice she's making about who she's going to be. And they are who they are at the point that they're at. Like, you can change as a person, sure, but you can't like fundamentally alter a decision like that.
Right.
Like they made a decision about the parts of themselves they were going to embrace and the parts of themselves they were going to leave behind. And that on like from the context and lens of what it's saying is about like growing up, you can't alter that when you're in your 50s and above. You can't change how you grew up. So I think that I hear you. I kind of get how like it would have been cool if May could have like, I think she still broadened their concepts of their relationship with the pandas, but can't change the fact that they have to part with their pandas.
Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. It's not necessarily a break the movie thing for me. It was just kind of a thought that I had at the time because I felt like the story was about learning to accept all parts of you, and I took it as like the panda was a repressed part of them, and so like having maybe some of them accept it, at the end of it, it's kind of like coming into your own so late in life.
Yeah, I want to be clear. Like, I'm not attacking your point. I thought about this too, and I think that the reason why I like the decision so much is because the mother still has fear. Right? When she passes through and parts with her panda, she looks back and she's like, no, still come with me. She's still afraid of letting her do this because it's an unknown. And I think that that's a part of like the letting go as a parent and embracing who your child is choosing to be as well. And supporting them. And if other members of the family were doing it, the mother wouldn't be quite as justified in having the fear because she'd have some reference point of like, it will be okay.
Yeah.
She really doesn't know. She's really afraid.
Yeah, and I do really like the moment where they all decided to break their charms so that they can become the pandas.
I love that so much.
So good, so wonderful. Because like I called it. It's like when they're at the Four Town concert and they're gonna drag the kaiju panda in, and I was like, wait, it doesn't matter what song they sing as long as it's from the heart. Four Town is gonna sing this.
Yeah,
I thought that was very good, very nicely set up.
I did also see like where the movie was going as a story fundamentally, but I did not see kaiju panda.
Neither did I. I told you it was big.
That was cool.
Yeah. I did see where the story was going, where because you have an overprotective mom, you have the daughter who's trying to live up to all those expectations, and sometimes that means skirting her friends. But when Malin does finally get the chance to tell her mom, is like, look, I like doing all these things. The line that got me was she's like, I like gyrating, and she starts gyrating. That friggin' got me.
Man.
Another scene that got me, like we were talking about how good the animation quality was earlier. The Ghibli style food porn when the dad is making dinner. It was just like, that looks like it's bullshit. That's real food. F all y'all. That's real food.
I know what you're talking about. That's when I turned to Megan and I'm like, boy, if they made Ratatouille today. Like, holy God. Like, their food animation has gotten insane.
When that happened, I was like, oh, did we just jump into Ratatouille for a second?
Yeah.
This is also the first Pixar film that I've seen have an opening title sequence.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Where she's like doing like she's like posing with the title. I thought that was cool.
It was very it's very of a flavor of anime and manga inspirations. Very, very like the character being engaged with the audience as it's going through like slice of life story. I really, really enjoy it. I want to highlight what Mag said, which is it was good, just amazed they tackled the topic about pads and puberty. 100% Mag. I was also there. Like the fact when pads were not only mentioned, but like shown, I was like, oh man, I'm so happy we're here. I'm so happy that a kid's movie is doing this.
There's a giant close-up. You forgot your pads!
Like, knowing young boys are going to have questions and need to understand and recognize what happens to their female peers is great. Really happy that that's happening. Because I learned about it too late. Like, later than I should have, frankly, to be just a good friend. So I think that's awesome.
Me too.
Yeah, I think they do a lot of great, like, real quick changes of the face animations. The scene where puberty hits her like a truck. Really, really love it. It goes from 0 to 60 so fast. I
really like how the animation transitions, how quick some of it is, like when she turns into the panda, how quick that animation is, how very physical a lot of the comedy is, like when the girl comes out of the bathroom and she's just paused and then pushes her back in.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, like the puberty thing with her drawing all these big things and all these like naughty things in the thing.
When she draws the first one and then she's like, why'd I do that? Oh. And then like gets down and rolls under the bed. Like,
and then you get the mom, and she's like,
drawing some horny things, woman.
Don't look at the notebook. She looked out. Oh no! And like she knows it. Oh, this is your homework, and just everything.
That poor guy, Travis. What was his name? Travis. Devin. Whatever. That poor guy, just not suspecting a thing.
I mean,
getting lambasted.
I mean,
that definitely went way worse for me.
That's true.
Like this whole movie, I feel so embarrassed for Maylin. Because she has that overprotective parent where they're just like they see the one thing is like, oh, did this person do this? And it's like, no, I drew this. And it's that classic thing of a parent doesn't understand. But even though they went through stuff with the second when the dad says, hey, it's your mom, and Ming instantly just hides. She's like, oh, hell no.
Right, she reverts back to the thing. But you also kind of realize why the mother feels that way towards her mother and towards May. The idea that, like, if I just thought I could watch you like a hawk, I'd be able to see the signs and prepare you better. And she distanced herself from her mother because of an accident that happened. Yeah. And like you see that the mother has a scar, and you can extrapolate that that's what happened. Somehow she got that scar through an accident with the mother's panda. And I thought that was just really good. Like she doesn't come off as this kind of like nagging, overprotected mother. She comes off as someone who that comes from a place of reason in her mind. That comes from a place of trauma in her mind that she is projecting onto her daughter. It's really layered storytelling that you just don't often see in kids movies.
Right.
I love when.
I really like that, but I also like that they layered it with the mom. I think the important step was not just doing the overprotective stuff, but also doing the presumption that their child is perfect and infallible.
Oh, sure.
You know, like the how quick she is to put this on everyone else. It's everyone else's responsibility but her child's, because her child can do no wrong, and having to acknowledge that her child is her own person.
Yeah, that's why she gets mad at the friends.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, really glad that not only did it happen in that scene, but it was cemented, you know, when she goes to Devon, when she talks about these other things, like, those are people who are going to manipulate and bad influence you, and you'll make bad choices because of them, but you won't make bad choices because you make bad choices.
Yeah, and that's what the fight sequence it's almost a fight sequence. That's what that's about, where she's telling herself, like, I like these things, I do these things, I am my own person.
Right.
And that's heightened by this kaiju battle.
Yes.
Even once in the epilogue where she says, "My panda, my choice."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Real quickly, the mom has a Tamagotchi panda.
I love that.
Cute.
Or even the grandma, she's like has the 4-town thing, and she's like, "Number 4, so unlucky." And she's losing at poker.
4-town.
There's some. Oh, there was something I was gonna say. Shoot, what was I going to say?
Ooh, about the mother?
No, it was about the friends. It was how May. Oh, it was when May and her friends try to come up with this scheme to hustle the panda to get money to go see the concert. Because when she does the presentation to her mom, really it's just to convince her mom. You can tell the dads are like, "Yeah, sure, go have fun."
Oh, yeah, the dad doesn't care.
Yeah, dad's like, "Yeah, cool, have fun." And the mom is like, "Absolutely not." You can definitely see it's weird because I connected with that part, because I remember when I was a kid, I had to convince my parents to be like, "Hey, this is something I want to do," and I had to convince them that I was gonna be like, "Let's do this," and they're either yay or nay. And of course, when they go nay, I was like, I felt exactly like, man, it's like, come on, just let me do this thing. Why can't I do this one thing?
Yeah, it's almost like things are universal. Experiences are universal.
Yeah.
I'm subtexting about a review on what was it, New York Times or something? Whatever, doesn't matter. Is that Madame
Are you
Gao?
talking about the person who, like, yes, it is Madame Gao. Are you talking about the person who for our audio listeners, Mag brought up that Madame Gao is the voice actor for May's grandma. Are you talking about the piece where, like, the guy reviewed Turning Red and was like, "This is for a certain demographic, and I'm not part of it, so I don't like it," and like, God, get out of here.
Wow. Someone said that?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I love the dad. I thought the dad was great. I love all the little bits with him. I love the emotional beat with him where he's like, I love this. When he finds the video camera, I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah,
but
very sweet.
But I really love one of my favorite bits with the dad is when she's like, "Why don't you stay here with Dad?" And he's like, "Oh," and then she's like, "No, we're gonna go now." And he's like, "Oh."
He gets so happy. He's like, "Oh."
He's not even just happy, like surprised. He's like, "Oh." I enjoyed his energy so much. I love the friends. Abby is too much at all times, which I thought was really entertaining.
Funny enough, Abby's my favorite.
You know why, Ben? It's because she's exactly like the mannish voice girl in the Pink and Purple from Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
It's that same energy.
Speaking of LGBTQ, though, one of her friends is definitely a lesbian.
Yeah. Or bi, at least.
Yeah. And they it's unfortunate how that probably ended up like that.
Priya, right?
Priya, yeah. The one who's like straight faced, who's like has monotone and reads the vampire books. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I just love when this movie is based on, or where this movie takes place in 2002 in Toronto. Like you see, like the old text phones were like the old school text messages.
Yes, I thought it was so interesting to set this in 2002. Obviously, some amount of like wanting to incorporate personal experience, but like, I really liked that. I liked that like it wasn't that it was like set in a specific time. It felt nice. It just felt nice.
It's a period piece, and I really hate that.
Why do you hate that?
It's 20 years ago, man. I was
Yeah.
12.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
was.
I'm 31.
Yeah.
We
We were
11,
close. We were closer to May's age.
That's
we
true.
were 11 turning. We were 11 turning 12 that year.
Yeah, it's kind of like Harry Potter, our period films at this point. It's one of those things where, boy, aging's a bitch.
Yeah.
I did really love seeing the recreation of that era of 2002. The boy band with the Tamagotchi, with the flip phones, like all of it very relatable, very interesting to kind of revisit all that. And Four Town is, I'm a kid of the 90s. I love me some boy bands.
Sure.
And I was very happy to kind of get some good boy band music out of this.
Yep.
Hold up, before we go in, Mag is in the chat saying Dad is the best cook. Yes, he is. And we were just talking about how the late 90s or the 2000s culture of boy bands and Tamagotchi and everything, and the video camera that May's dad brings out is just.
Sparks, you said it very well that video camera moment is a very good emotional beat. I totally agree with that.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Speaking of period pieces, I really like how representative this is of not just growing up, but of the female experience of growing up. And so I thought that was really well done. It's my pun.
Me too.
But I also meant it. I thought that it just did a good job of like speaking to the analogy of the female experience while also just a more universal growing up. Especially with parents who you kind of have to set a sense of separation and self-identity, and when that happens and how that happens, and recognizing when the value of your friends is important and when it isn't. And thought that was done really well too.
Also kind of like how Tyler becomes part of the crew at the end, or the group.
Tyler's arc is very well done. Of just the bully turned supporter turned Four Townie.
Yeah.
He's trying so hard to hide it, and then it was like, "You're a Four Town." He's like, because he knows he's caught.
Yeah. The moment when May throws all her friends under the bus with her mom,
heartbreaking.
I turned to Megan and I'm like, "This is Sea Monster all over again."
Yeah.
I just thought like they followed through on all the character arcs so well. I thought that the story was told really well. I love that animation. I think the comedy is really good. I don't know what the piece I think is missing, but there's a piece missing.
Both the chases through the street with the panda running from the school and then running from the monastery to the thing. Very well animated. Love those moments. Awesome. Beautiful music. Ludwig Göransson is the guy who did the music. He did, for those of you who don't know, he's the Mandalorian, Black Panther. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That dude is getting mad Disney money, and good for him because he deserves it.
He's good.
Like the scene where May is going from her family's temple to the concert, and she's turning into the panda and out of the panda at will. Like she has control of it. It's like, you go, girl. You did it. You got it.
Such good animation seeing the transformations between the panda and her, and how she like is like launched forward with when she's turned from the panda, and then really cool. I like this movie quite a bit, guys.
Yeah, one more thing from Mag. Even happy James Hong is in it. James Hong is Mr. Gao. I always loved his here, James Hong. This movie's great.
I just remembered. I definitely want to talk for a moment about the nightmare sequence.
Oh yeah,
straight out of A24 montage, like scaled down for children a little, but like definitely the kind of thing where I'm like, some kids have nightmares out of this, like 100%. This is some spooky shit.
I completely forgot about that nightmare sequence until you brought it up, Sparks, and I'm kind of mad at you for it now.
The part where Devin's just the merman, like flopping, like, whoa, whoa. Like, and then it cuts to like a worm cut in half, and then like I was like,
you get like. Isn't part of like Four Town like their heads are part of sunflowers or something?
Something like that.
To be fair,
it gets 24 level weird.
To be fair, this is by the same director who did Bao.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty messed up short film.
But a really good short film.
Yeah. I like that one. I like it more in hindsight than I did probably when I watched it.
Yeah. I think this was a great success for Pixar. I thought that like overall just a really pleasant experience. I think they fired on almost all cylinders with everything. Cool representation all around. Just really nice.
Yeah.
Like a nice big warm hug by the end.
A big, warm, fluffy hug.
Don't think we have much more to add.
No, we got a whole other movie to talk about.
I wish we got to see this one in theaters. Don't take Blake to
Oh
theaters.
my gosh,
God
me
damn.
too. I wish I had gotten to see this in theaters so bad.
First,
Really want to watch it again.
First thing I told Fanny, and by the way, Fanny absolutely loved this movie. She was laughing throughout the entire film.
I was curious.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing I was telling Fanny, I was like, why wasn't this movie in theaters? I wanted to see this in theaters.
I mean, you know why, Ben. You don't need to ask Fanny that.
Because Disney said no.
Because Disney's a dick. And Bob Chapek is only concerned with growing Disney Plus and not concerned with growing anything else.
Yep. Me.
Okay. Yes, Mag, it is available at the El Capitan, limited time.
For 1 week.
Sure. For 1 week.
And in Oakland.
And the El Capitan, by the way, is not, IMAX compatible.
Right.
So, right.
Why don't we rate it? What final thoughts and rate? So, Ben.
God, I had a blast with this movie. I'm gonna give this another 10. 2 10s in a row for me. This movie was that good for me. I loved it.
Very cool. Sparks?
I have to go with a 9. I wish I could tell you exactly what is the reason I have to give it a 9. I still don't know, but I know that there's something, and maybe one day I'll understand. I probably need to watch it again and think about it.
I think I'm with you, Sparks. I really loved it. I thought it was really great. It was really funny. I like all the elements. But someone's telling me a 9, and a 9 is pretty high. So yeah, that's nothing to scoff at.
Nothing wrong with a 9, baby.
Nope.
So why don't we get into our next main topic? I shouldn't have done that. What a dick.
No, I love it.
No, that was. I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about the Adam Project, which is the other film that came out this week, directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Reynolds. This is Netflix's original. Full spoilers if you haven't seen it. You've been warned. What do we think about this one?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out, total garbage, the whole time garbage. No, I'm just kidding.
You're dancing while you do that.
I thought that it was pretty good. I think that it is helped a lot by a solid emotional core and good performances. But the story, not 100% A+.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I mean, that's fine. I still really enjoyed it.
I thought this was exactly the movie I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be the emotional chorus parts. You even said very solid. It's right there. Now, what I really liked about it wasn't the same movie as Free Guy. It's not kind of laugh out loud funny like Free Guy is.
Sure.
It is a different. It's not necessarily a comedy. It's more of an action adventure. And just kind of appreciated that. It's really just what I'm trying to say with that. But I really liked it. I really liked Ryan Reynolds in it. I really liked that kid. Yeah.
I will elaborate on what I was saying to say that I think the emotional core is very good. I think that this movie overall is a situation of actors elevating the writing. I feel like a lot of the stuff around Sorian, the villain, is not great. It's just not. It's not hitting top level for what I want it to be.
There's not really a lot of motivation there. I agree with that.
Not only is there not a lot of motivation, it's like there's a lot of steps missing in like we are flung into what she did and who she is so quickly, and I think that the involvement of her younger version should give us some room to backtrack and kind of understand her better. And it's almost like they wanted to walk up to that line, but they just don't do it. And so her whole thing kind of falls flat for me. Even though I like Catherine Keener, I think she's great as an actor.
I don't think she's really given I have a couple things about this movie that kind of hurt it for me, but I don't think she's giving a good performance in this.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
And that's a bummer.
Yeah, the whole stuff with Sorian and even Catherine Keener, like the scene where she's talking her to herself, like old self and young self, it just felt very flat. But that's not. I mean, like we were saying, the thing that makes this movie very, very much work for me is Ryan Reynolds, the kid whose name I completely forgetting, and Mark Ruffalo. That whole
and Jennifer Garner do not sell.
Not.
Honestly, Jennifer Garner and Zoe Saldana, both super important to why I like this movie.
Yeah,
even though they're not in it as much as the three male stars that you just mentioned, both of them have scenes that are emotionally devastating.
The bar scene with Old Adam is a really good scene.
And they are going for it, both of them. Jennifer Garner's scene with Ryan Reynolds is when I was watching the movie. I'm like, I mean, this movie's real good, even if the rest of it is shit from here. Because I was so emotionally engaged with it. And again, this is one of those situations where I'm like, these actors are raising this writing. Like the writing's not terrible, but like they are taking it to the next level. Their performances are so on point that is what is making the emotional core land for me.
I just did a cursory glance at some of these other writers' IMDb credits. They're not great. Two of them wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth, which I enjoy. One of them wrote Pacific Rim Uprising. So like, they don't really have a lot of like good, like really good stuff. I think this might be their best stuff, probably because what you're saying, Sparks, is that the actors are helping the material, and I do think actually Sean Levy helps a little bit. I think he helps. The directing that he's going with, probably even a hand in some of the story beats because of it, helps a lot.
I'm sure he's bringing out some of these performances from them, but I'm like the exact same dialogue scene of when Zoe Saldana's Laura is telling him to go. That exact same dialogue, I feel like I've seen delivered in like sci-fi channel level productions, and it's like, yeah, all right, but I don't believe the character the way I believe her when she's like screaming it at him and practically breaking down, crying, telling him to go. I'm like, I believe it right now. I believe it so much. Yes, they're so, all of the actors, our whole main cast except for our villain, are so committed to their roles that it makes everything sing, regardless of like where the other flaws are.
Right. Yeah. I think what you're talking about Zoe Saldana's bit when she's yelling at him to go, and Ryan Reynolds when he's leaving her, his breakdown.
Yes. When
he's in the car is very good too.
Yes.
There's a level of acting that it's not. I've seen it from Ryan Reynolds before, but we don't see it often. There's a level of acting that he's doing in this movie that I was happy that he kind of didn't shed it completely, but did kind of break out of his character that he plays a lot.
I agree because I was nervous going into it that he was basically going to be like Free Guy again, energy wise. Mm-hmm. But we get this real emotional core. I keep saying that, but like this real emotional through line for his character that is dramatic and devastating, and like he's a guy who's had a lot of life stuff happen to him, and Zoe Saldana's Laura is the best thing.
Yeah.
So him like wanting to hold on to that so desperately, like again, he's really selling it. They're really selling it. The kid's very good. The kid is very good at being a young Ryan Reynolds.
Very good.
Very good. But everybody's like meeting the material, and more importantly, meeting the other actors where they need to be. Mm-hmm. As far as like all the ones we just mentioned that aren't our villain or Christos, who just feels like he's the bad guy. That's where it feels like the weak element of the movie.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with that. I want to talk about Zoe Saldana a bit though. So she came to the past 2018 and she was stranded, thought dead. And Ryan Reynolds comes back to save her. I kind of wish she was in the movie more, or at least longer from that moment. I don't mind when she shows up, but I kind of wish she saw the ending through.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's the thing. Is like honestly, it's a role probably usually given to a lesser performance, and a lesser actor. But Zoe Saldana like uses all the time that she has to make it impactful. Yeah. And that makes it memorable, and that makes you want more. And I agree. I don't think there actually is proper room in the story that they're telling for her. I'm glad we get like the button at the end. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you just because I liked her so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, you brought up the bar scene,
Yes.
which Ryan Reynolds. That's a really good scene. In lesser actors, it's a worse scene.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds' face is so sincere when he's talking to Jennifer Gardner, like he is talking to his mother.
Mhm.
And he's kind of breaking down a bit. Yeah, it's a really powerful moment that I just wanted to highlight again.
Yeah,
And
I really like it.
I love how she kind of gets at the. She's like, this guy seems so familiar. Oh God, I was gonna go
More than you. She says more than he says. He loves you more than you know, which is which is what young Adam said to her earlier, and it kind of cues her into the fact that like, oh, was this my son?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Even when we see Mark Ruffalo in his lecture hall, and he notices like, and he says, "Adam," it's like, damn, that was quick.
Well, it's because he already knew time travel existed. He already invented time travel. That's one of the things I really like about the story about this movie. Is that when we meet Ryan Reynolds, we're already in an altered timeline, and when we go to 2022, it's an altered 2022. The timeline has already been changed by the time we start the story, and so we're going back to prevent that change. And so initially there was time travel invented. There was a world where time travel was invented, and Mark Ruffalo had invented it, which is why seeing an older Adam to him, not that surprising. Surprising, sure, but like, I get why you're here because I invented time travel.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I like another really good emotional beat. Like you have the emotional beat with him and his mom in the bar, but also with him and Mark Ruffalo, where he's like, "You're my boy." Like that whole scene, I was like, man, it gets you right there.
Right.
Where he's telling adult Ryan Reynolds, like, "You're my son and I love you." He's like, "No, Dad, I don't need." He's like, "No, you do." And even like we talked about this earlier, like the emotional parts of this film were, to me, they were more interesting than the B plot was more interesting and more and better than the A plot. Like when young and old Adam are sitting down, he's like, "Dude, I know why you're mad." And he's like, "No, he's mad because he was never there." He's like, "No, you're mad at him because he died, and you decided to hate him because he died."
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up. I think that the kid and Ryan Reynolds have very good chemistry. They very, like Sparks mentioned, they're very good at playing the same person. The kid is very easily matches Ryan Reynolds where he's playing the role, and that helps the moment, like with the one you were bringing up, what they're having at the picnic table, where they're saying, where the kid is reminding him all the good memories that he still has, haven't been tainted by time, by his rage at losing his dad so young. That those memories haven't been tainted yet, and he's reminding him of what those memories were. It's a very sweet moment.
Yeah, I really like that. I agree with you. I think I like that it presents the concept of like, your memories are altered by your perception as you get older, and like you can't retain perfect memory, and especially with something traumatic and with rage and other emotions that come in, like it warps it. And I thought that was a good reflection on that. I think that's one of the stronger written scenes of the film, and then of course the performances are very good. I
do like the quick side note, I do love when they're outside the college, and then like after they punch each other, and he looks to young Adam's like, "Why'd you grow up to be an asshole?"
Yeah. I think that they do. I agree with you, Brandon. I do think it's a really interesting concept to already be in an altered timeline from the jump. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're trying to work against for the plot. Like we never really get to the cemented timeline till the very end of the film.
And even that's a different timeline than the one that Maya came from initially.
But I also think that it does start our villain off on the wrong foot and like shortchange their development. That's why like I don't think that they're ever really able to quite land. I'm sure there are ways that problem could be fixed. I don't need to like ruminate on them too hard. I just she came in flat. It did not help that when we have to beat her younger version looks like Tron Legacy level CGI.
Looks not
de-aging. Good. Like it's that blurry sheen that they used for Tron Legacy almost exactly. I was like, this is rough.
Yeah.
I definitely in like that and the third act, I could feel the movie pushing against its budget with CGI, and I kind of wish it wasn't.
Yeah. I do think, speaking of the budget, though, I do think a lot of the action sequences are very good and they're very well shot. And it's a cool concept of like you have like a quantum time that you have to exist in. If you die outside of that, it's messy.
Right.
And that's how they visualize the deaths of these soldiers. I thought that was a really cool concept, and it helps that the action is also really well done, I thought.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Like when Zoe Saldana shows up in the fight scene in the backyard, I thought that was really cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and they have this kind of like, is what I really like is like these epic love stories and blockbusters that we don't really get anymore. Like this, we kind of felt like that like lust towards each other, that they have this unspoken love that you can feel with the chemistry that they have.
Right.
For such small screen time, they have incredible chemistry.
Yeah, they really sell it. I think it works very, very well. Yeah, I love the needle drops. I think they're all well done and well chosen. I think that they sell the chemistry of that. I cannot stress enough that I think like Jennifer Garner and Zoe Saldana are doing so much with so little. As far as like what's put on the page, like they are not given a lot of time, and they're not given a lot of really like ambitious writing, but they are going for a performance, and they are meeting where that deep emotional thread of what the story wants to be about. When like the story's at its best because it's focused on what happened to Adam because of him growing up without his dad, and how that affected his relationship with all the other people around him. And like the different avenues it takes to explore that are really good. The fact that it's represented by these powerful performances. I'm really glad we get at least one scene with Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo together. I think she does some really great stuff in that scene. Like she has the great line of, you don't need to be perfect. He just needs you to be you.
Yeah.
And like that's okay. I think they really do a lot of great stuff there. If that weren't so well done and so well brought to life by these actors, I think this would be a much lesser film.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Jennifer Gardner has a moment at the end when they're in the new timeline, and the kid hugs her. He has this moment of like he remembers the echo, and that he gives her a hug, and you can see how important that was to Jennifer Gardner. You can see that in her face. It's a really powerful moment.
Megan and I definitely thought that like the dad was going to be alive in the new timeline, because we were going to find out that Serena had set up the car accident.
I thought so too.
So once she was erased, he was actually going to be alive. And I thought that's where we were going. I was kind of surprised that wasn't it.
I was expecting her, because like you can tell when she's like, when you see old Sorian and she's all, or old Maya, and she's all like saying like, I killed his wife twice, and I was like, when's the reveal that she set the car crash? I was like, oh, so that actually was an accident. Okay.
I also do like that she killed herself.
Yes,
like nobody kills Maya. She kills herself.
Right. Yeah. Mark Ruffalo just knew it would happen.
Yeah.
It's like armor piercing rounds.
Just
magnets.
Kids, stay behind me. Actually, if we stay behind you, it would probably just kill us anyway, because those are armor piercing.
All right, then spread out a little. Okay, good advice.
The banter between the three of them is very good. Mark Ruffalo can keep up with Ryan Reynolds in a way that I just didn't think he could.
Yeah.
When they get out of the elevator, so bring your kid to work day was a total success, huh? Even when he's like 8, it's like, who said that? You did, just before you got arrested. I get what?
Yeah. I like that young Adam is so concerned with like, oh, we have a wife, we get laid towards the beginning. But like the scenes there's two things that I want to highlight. I really like the every bit where they're in the jet. I thought that was really cool. Like the idea that I need pure DNA to open the jet, and that's why young Adam is part of the action in the beginning, and then that's why he gets into the jet, and he's convinced because we're like, we're gonna go see Dad, we're gonna go do this in 2018, and he's like, yeah, hell yeah. The jet action sequence is really good, and then a lot of the stuff when they're mimicking each other's movements, like with the food or with the scar or I thought that was very well done, and there's easy ways that could slip up, and they pretty much nail it.
Telling you talking to zip it at the same time.
Yeah, or like closing the fridge the same way that the kid does.
Yes, all that very, very good, like well thought out stuff. Really like the dad having read the room and knowing that he's not around for much longer, and so
Yes.
giving that like message to them and making that moment with them. And
Playing
Ryan Reynolds playing off of it, very good.
The end where they're playing catch.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have felt hokey without the scene between the two Adams earlier.
Yeah.
But they made it work.
They really do, because it feels like, both of those Adams needed it in that moment.
Yeah.
They needed that moment with their father one last time, and they're even in the new timeline, they're just not going to get it.
Yeah, and seeing the both the gloves on the ground when
It's
he
pretty
gets
hard.
It's like it's because you hope that they're okay. I mean, yeah, we see younger Adam in 2022 saying bye to his mom, giving her the hug, and then we see when older Adam is at the college and he meets his Laura for the first time.
This is a very good scene when Zoe Saldana, it's the same meet cute that he describes to him. Yeah, really liked it.
Definitely, like speaking from like my own personal stuff right now, like just the scene with the dad expressing his feelings for his son before he knows he's not going to be around anymore was like really like, yeah, all right, you got it, like dang, hitting those feelings. And it's another one of the reasons why like the bar scene hit really hard, was because like I was thinking of my own mom and like how she's doing right now, and definitely like they know what's up, they know what they're talking about, they know how to handle the material.
Yeah, I really like this. I don't know if I have much more to add though.
I don't.
I really did too. I really wish that there was some way to make like the villain at all more connected or interesting.
Sure.
Like all the connection level feels so forced to the point where like it's weird, because it almost feels like she's a stranger to the family, but she isn't. And that's part of the point, that she isn't.
There's pictures of her with the family.
Right. But like it all feels so like telling me, not showing me. Rather than her actually being close to them at all.
Right. They're actively showing you, but not in a way that is in the performances. Like they're showing you pictures, but you can't feel emotion from those pictures.
Right.
You only feel, but you never feel the emotion with the actors.
They're telling me she's been close to them. Like when she's first brought up, it's like Adam thinks of her as like his friend. Like she's nice and she's friendly, and like we don't really get any of that, like that dynamic of relationship between them. And again, like they kind of almost walk up to it with the young one, but not really.
But the young one is still so cold.
They don't go far enough. Like I can't they didn't commit enough to like the young one deciding to turn against her older self and like make a choice, but they didn't commit to her making the choice to be bad. They just left her in like this nebulous space of like, I never knew what she wanted from moment to moment, the young one specifically. I'm like, I almost wish she wasn't in the final act.
Yeah.
Like she just kind of doesn't add a lot, because I can't tell where she stands with anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do want to highlight the final action sequence. I really like the taking out the hard drive bit, a comedy bit, and like I really like the design of that kind of particle accelerator that Mark Ruffalo has created. And the idea is like, well, okay, if we do this, it's going to destroy 100 miles an hour, 100 miles around, or nothing. It just stalls and just does a loop and forever. Well, let's hope it's that one. I thought that was really cool, funny.
Yeah.
Should we rate it then? I don't know if.
Sure.
Ben, why don't you go first again?
I'll give it an 8. It's I still feel that the emotional stuff, the B plot, essentially, is what carries this movie and gives it such a high score for me. Whereas the main plot with the villain and Sorian is very middle of the road, C material.
Yeah.
The action scenes I really enjoyed. The one-liners are great. Like we said, Zoe Saldana and Jennifer Garner bring it. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds, the kid, and Mark Ruffalo is amazing. The chemistry between all of them is really good. So yeah,
very well cast movie.
Very well cast movie. So yeah, I give it an 8. Solid 8.
Yeah, I think director and actors do a lot of favors for the material that's on the page. I think they take it to a new place and make what is the good nugget in the middle of this story really sing. So like all said, like I think it's a very good sequel to 13 Going on 30. I really enjoyed it, and I'll give it an 8. Yeah, an 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8.5. It hit most every button. But Maya I just don't think she's delivering a good performance. And I think if she met the material as where maybe Mark Ruffalo did, like I just think we got something.
I think even then, like the material for her needed to be better.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the thing is like there are dips in the writing for like a lot of the other characters, but they're able to like overcome it, and she's just never able to get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I really do think that there's something very special. I did not think it was going to be as emotionally enveloped in its personal story as it was.
Yeah, I really like Sean Levy's current output. I haven't liked all of his movies, but the four of them I've really liked so far. Yeah, bring on Deadpool 3. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Shall we go into a book club then?
I believe we shall.
Ben, take it away.
No, you didn't get me the first time. You're not getting me this time.
Oh, damn. Sparks, take it away. No.
I didn't even read it.
Oh, that's fair.
No, I read it.
It is my turn. I picked Batman, The Imposter, which is written by Mattson Tomlin, who wrote the Batman, the movie we reviewed last week, with art by Andrea Sorrentino, who's an artist I really love. So what do we think about this?
Guess I'm going first. Okay. I enjoyed this book. One of the things I've been really liking about Batman stories is when it takes something, it's the world but it's also something completely different. Like, this is a different Gotham. This is a different type of Batman. He doesn't have Alfred. And essentially the main person he talks to is Leslie Tompkins. And I really like that, how it's, I really like how Leslie's like, I'm gonna help you as a patient, but if you don't show up here, I'm calling the cops and your ass is grass.
Yeah. Sparks?
Yeah, I thought it was a cool take on Batman with the psychiatrist angle, and like that being kind of the running through narrative of analysis of Bruce. And I really like his romance story. I thought that was really nice. I think that carried a lot of the story through. The imposter stuff is good, but like those being the frameworks, I thought worked really, really well.
Yeah,
and the art is nice.
It does feel like Mattson Tomlin is not interested in the imposter storyline. It's just kind of a crux to get Bruce into a specific emotional state.
Yeah.
To which I don't necessarily think is a problem. I would like to have seen more of it. I pretty much called it pretty early who it was. But as Ben said, like it's such an interesting take on Gotham because it shares no similarity to the Batman, was the movie he wrote, or any Batman story, because Gordon never was commissioner. Alfred was so fed up with Bruce that he just left. Mm-hmm. And the manor is just kind of run down at this point. I thought all that was really interesting concepts, and I love Andrea Sorrentino's artwork. I really loved what they did on Gideon Falls, Old Man Logan with Jeff Lemire. There's this thing that they do, which I really like, that highlights within the artwork, not necessarily like even with paneling. Like, there's a bit that I took a picture of where the imposter Batman is in the shadows, and so like a box will highlight the in the shadows Batman. That was a cool little art moment. And then whenever he breaks the bones, you see like the impact art highlight, kind of like there's this black and white X-ray highlight of what they do. It's just all little artwork bits that I'm familiar with Andrea Sorrentino, and I just think that that's always really fun to see.
Sure.
But ultimately, I think the emotional core of it, I really like the new character,
Blair
Wong?
Yeah,
Blair Wong.
Yeah, I thought she was really great.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the way their story develops. I like the paneling specifically at that point, which I remember really well, of like when they're going out and you get like the mix of the blacks and the reds. Mm-hmm. I thought all that was really lovely. I like the use of the character Otis. Even though it's very sad, very sad.
The rat catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was decently well utilized. It feels a little emotional manipulation-y, but I still thought it was a cool idea for like a representation of having faith in a Batman, and it's the wrong Batman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one panel. There's one bit that I really liked, which was it's a 2-page. It's two 2-page spreads where we see one the top paneling is Batman's story and the bottom paneling is faded out, and then that's flipped on the next page where the top paneling is Wong's storyline and then the bottom paneling is the previous Batman paneling but just faded out.
It's the reflections, yeah.
It's the reflections. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I also thought of that as really, really neat.
One scene that really got me was, I want to say this was Bruce's second time seeing Leslie Tompkins, and because they're talking about why he's doing this, why he's being the Batman, and it's a very small panel, but it's like, oh damn, okay. It kind of, to me, it tells her how Bruce is convicted that he's working, he's making a difference. Because when he tells her that last night in 54 years, Gotham had its first night with 0 violent crimes,
and a tear.
Yep, exactly. There's a tear going down Batman's face. You could, and that's where it's like, oh, he is convicted that this is working, and he's truly making a difference.
Right.
Yeah, and there's the thing with at the end with Wong, because Wong now knows that Bruce is Batman, and kind of a moment of vulnerability. Bruce removes his mask to her, and he says, like, look, at the end of this, arrest me if you don't think I'm doing any good. And when she is arresting him, and he says, if you don't think I'm doing any good, and then the next panel is that he's gone. I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
also,
I agree.
I'm not gonna lie, I really liked how they both fell for each other. I was like, oh, this is gonna get ruined so quick. And also even the scene where when Bruce talks to her and like he's cooperating with the police, and he's like, hey, we have so much in common, and she instantly goes to like, oh, because our parents both died. He's like, no, you went to Yale, I went to Yale, we both dropped out, and I went to Brazil. And she immediately, oh, I messed up. And they start talking about what they do have in common besides, the big giant elephant in the room, which is both their parents were murdered in front of them.
Yeah, she has the narration, I believe, where they're having the date, and she talks, and her narration is saying that we didn't talk about our common interest. Even in the narration, she's dancing around about we didn't talk about our common interest. We talked about everything else.
Right.
I thought the relationship was really well built, and honestly, if it was just that, if there was no overarching like imposter storyline, I think that this is still a good Batman book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like 2 things about the ending. I do really like the way that he explains, the imposter kind of did his part and it's done no matter what now. Like, there will always be doubt. There will always be questioning of the Batman now.
Yeah, no one will believe it.
Right. And the other part is the end of it, the very, very end of it, where he's visiting the graves, and he visits his parents' graves, but he visits her parents' graves too. And then he visits Otis's with the flowers. And I thought that was all really nice. I'm really glad that they brought like that acknowledgement even of Otis by the end of it. I thought was really good.
Yeah, there's the imposter storyline is basically that this cop is upset at what Batman and Gordon did when they took down these corrupt judges.
Because it got all the cases thrown out, so a bunch of hardened criminals went back out. Basically undoing like actual police work. Yeah,
that was an interesting angle that you never really think about, because like when you think about like the corrupt judges in Gotham, a lot of the time it's framed that they didn't put away the bad people; they only put away the good people that deserved to not be put away. They didn't deserve to be put away. But the idea that like, yeah, these judges were corrupt, but they still put away some really bad people. Like when the evidence was mounted against them, they couldn't do anything. They weren't paid to change those rulings, but like every ruling was overturned by them.
Yeah, it was definitely a damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it's like, hey, let's put away these corrupt judges, because once the mob families got involved, then it's like, oh, they're gonna let the mob families walk. So it's like, sorry.
Yeah. So in a way, like what the imposter Batman was doing was, damaging the Batman brand knowingly, but also kind of trying to disillusion Gotham with Batman. Like, you all think he's doing more good, but he's not. He put out hundreds of hardened criminals.
Right.
Just an interesting angle. I never thought I'd see.
Yeah, I agree.
Ben, do you want to bring up Ryan's comment before we move on?
Yes, he says.
Not the first one.
Not the first one.
Always
love the inclusion of Leslie Tompkins in the Bat lore. 8 out of 10 Bat book.
And she's normally not drawn black, which I thought was a cool addition to draw her that way.
Yeah, I thought this was a very solid Black Label book. I love how it's different. I love how it's a different, and also just like the Batman, it's I don't want to say realistic, but a more down to earth, less bonkers villains.
You're right though. Like the writing, obviously it's the same writer. It does share not necessarily the same DNA, but it does share a similar DNA with the Batman. Not insofar as that it feels like this is year 3 of the Batman or year 1 of the Batman or whatever you want to frame it, but like it does feel like it's very much cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
And that was kind of fun to revisit after having watched the Batman and coming here, because like, Cobblepot's also in this one. Mm-hmm. Black Mask is in this one.
You see Black Mask?
Yeah. I love that part where he describes like visiting the Penguin and the Penguin being convinced he was going to kill him, like almost pissing himself.
Yeah, and Batman's kind of happy about that. Like he's I'm glad they're scared of me.
Yeah.
You know what? There's something I was going to say, because I know obviously when we reviewed the Batman last week, people were talking about how it's like there's a more realistic Batman, yada yada yada. I think down to earth is a better term, because you can still have like those crazy bombastic villains. It's just that in this part of Batman's career, it's more street level crime. It's like, hey, I'm going to go after common thugs. I'm not going to go after giant megalomaniacs like the Joker or who's another one? Not Killer Croc.
Well, Ventriloquist is in this.
Ventriloquist is in it. I did like that.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun way to include that character, although I don't know if he's necessarily needed.
I felt the same way until we got to the very last button with Tompkins, and that he sends her like it's like a message to her, like, I am making a difference, and you're part of me making a difference.
Yeah, because he even says, like, if you were going to send me to Arkham, you would have done it by now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Sparks, it's your book club next week.
Hi, friends. We're going to read Bitch Planet, Volume 1. This is by Kelly Sue DeConnick, with art by Valentine DeLandro. So,
cool.
Check that out. We're going to do that.
All right. You're
welcome, universe.
Stay tuned for that. Next week, we don't necessarily know what we're doing. We initially thought we were going to do Everything Everywhere All the Time. It does not come out next week like initially thought. It comes out the week after. So we'll see what we're doing next week. So stay tuned for that. But until then, you can like this video and you can subscribe to this channel. Mag, of course, in the chat saying to stay safe. Ben?
Yep. Mag is saying stay safe. Ryan is still here. He's saying, yeah, Kelly Sue. I'm assuming that's from Everywhere, Everything, All at Once.
No. Kelly Sue DeConnick, who's I just said writer of Bitch Planet.
I'm sorry. Duh, my bad.
That's what happens when you read the comments out of order, Ben.
Yeah, that is what happens when I read.
Anyway, subscribe to us, like this video. You can check out all sorts of things on this YouTube channel, or if you just want to go to our YouTube channel, which is linked below, you can check out our Fake Nerds Watch series, which we have 2 currently going. Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, almost done, and Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Season 2, just started. A new episode of that one's coming up, but there are new episodes of both of those linked below. So there you go. Of course, Mortal Kombat X is our Basement Arcade series. If you don't know, that's our Let's Play series. Basement Arcade pause menu, new episode coming soon, Ben. We've talked about that, so stay tuned for that. Fake Nerd Book Club and Animation Station are other shows you can check out on this channel. Yeah. Crafted by Z masks. She does some masks for us. I feel like we've kind of forgotten we're in a pandemic. So many horrible things are happening at once. But hey, we still are. Buy some masks if you want to support us. We have a Patreon. We have a TeePublic if you want to support us that way. Our TeePublic has a bunch of cool merchandise, and our Patreon has the subscription tiers. I'm going to fix that thing. I'm so sorry that it's taken so long. And you can find all of these links down below, and of course on our website at fakenerdpodcast.com, where it's basically a hub of the show. You can check out all those links there. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live stream. Thank you to everyone who watches the rewind. Grayson in the chat saying thanks for the show. Same to you. And Ryan Curson in the chat. band. Good night, effers.
Good night, Ryan.
Good night, Ryan. Good night, Grayson. Good night, Meg. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci. Ryan, we miss you. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci for our music, all the music that you've heard tonight, all the music that you hear on all of our shows. You can find him at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards on Instagram, or his Suburban Proctologist podcast on Facebook or Instagram or iTunes. Just type in Suburban Proctologist, Subproc Podcast, Suburban Proctologist Official. You'll find it. Thank you to Mike Matola, who's done a couple of our logos and some fun collaborations over the years. We love that guy. You can find him on TikTok and Instagram on at Mike Matola. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. You can also check out my Screen Rant writings, linked below, where I write tons of stuff for a Screen Rant. That's kind of my main job. I also write for Atomic Geekdom, where I've been writing a series on revisiting the Infinity Saga of some of the most defining moments of that franchise that I believe are. And I write, and I'm the editor for Kaiju Ramen Media.com. I'm just their website editor. So if you guys want to write some kaiju stuff, send over a piece and I'll get it published probably if I deem it worthy. Ben, where can they find you?
Oh man, I thought I had a laundry list. All right, you can find me staying way too late to try and become the Elden Lord of the Lands Between at BedMaga27 on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find me writing for Fusion Gaming Magazine. My first issue 31, is coming out this month. When exactly, I'm not 100% sure, but this month, issue 31 is my first ever printed article. So yay. Actually, articles, I have two things in there. So yeah, Fusion Gaming Magazine. I also write for GoNintendo.com. Like we said at the very top of the show, my very first review is on the website, more to come. And I'm still writing for OldSchoolGamerMagazine.com. So don't worry, I'll be posting stuff up on my socials when stuff does go up. And also, now you can also follow me on Twitch. I'm streaming Tuesday and Saturday mornings at 2 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. Yes, I know, but that's the only time I can do it. I'm sorry.
What's your Twitch handle, Ben?
Twitch.tv/BenMagnet27.
There we go.
Real quickly, I completely forgot. I have an article in this month's issue of Kaiju Ramen Magazine, issue 5. So that's my last thing. Sparks.
You can find me locking it down at Key House and telling y'all you should watch Lock and Key on Netflix while I hop into a mobile suit at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
All right, then subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn. Oh, Ryan, we can find him at DJ Tony Snark. He'll be back next week, and he'll be able to remember that on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcast, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. Greatly appreciate it. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Screw you, Sparks. And until next week, stay fake nerds.